Oh, we got to add you to the scene. Whoops.
What?
Okay. We won't have this problem next week. I didn't have you in.
Why am I a
studio.
rectangle and you a circle?
I'm working on it. I'm fixing it.
I want to be a circle.
You're a circle. There you go.
Yeah, but Troy kind of looks like a donut.
Well, yeah, so
this
does he.
isn't the Twin Peaks stream.
Maybe we should go back to squares then, or rectangles.
Whoops. There we go. There we go.
Now you look like wheels.
Well, like wheels on a tractor. Exactly. I think that's
the wheels perfect. On the bus go round and round.
Did
we just got a copyright strike now for that? I'm sure it's copyrighted by somebody.
I don't think so. It's like, there was that whole thing a while back, Happy Birthday is actually, a copyright. Yeah, no, it went into public domain.
And Wheels on the Bus has been around since I was a little kid. So since I'm in my 60s,
it's
in public domain.
No, not necessarily. Some stuff is like 100 years after the death of the creator or something like that. Thank you, Jimmy
ridiculous.
Carter.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this before, but the background there, you might notice it a little bit easier on my side. Out the window on the right-hand side is the Chicago skyline, and out the window on the left-hand side is the Orlando. Actually, I can't remember now if that's Orlando or Miami skyline.
Considering I don't live near either.
Well, you live closer to those two than
I've lived in Orlando before, though. I visited Miami once very briefly, but that's a weird trip going across the state. Florida's a weird state. You have no idea.
When you live in the wang of the United States, it is going to be a weird kind of thing.
You know what? I think maybe a weird Florida stream might be upcoming maybe on a Friday sometime when I get some time. I'll take you through some of the weird locales in Florida.
That might be kind of fun. That would probably be a good summer thing too. And we can
maybe I'm thinking over the summer and get what's his name on there too. Maybe our paranormal friend.
Oh yeah, that might. Oh, is there some like ghosty type stuff in Florida?
There's all sorts of weird stuff in Florida. Okay, according to the weird New Jersey guys, Florida is the second weirdest state in the union, next to weird New Jersey. They made a whole bunch of books in that series. There was a weird Illinois. You probably have that book. Yeah,
I do have the weird Illinois one. Yes. But just so you all know, the top two he just said were New Jersey and Florida. Those are the two states that Aged Boomers lived in. So coincidence? Yes. I don't think so.
I was in Washington State for 6 weeks. I don't know if that counts as lived in though.
Yeah, Netter and I visited there. I guess you spend any time there. Technically, you've lived there. But
I do miss the food. They had great food over there. I'll say that. Yes.
In Washington State,
they had a brick oven pizza local chain that was excellent. Some of the best pizza I'd ever had.
Well, we've got one here in Chicago too. Well, actually, we've got a couple, but there's one I'm thinking of in particular. That's just. Yeah, you really can't beat brick oven for pizza, but oh yeah, Big Al has weird. I actually knew that. He's mentioned that before, so yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I had a whole collection of those weird books. First time a bunch of them got damaged due to a leakage in the air conditioner I had out in my in my made up room. Then I decided I had to replace a bunch of them, and I ended up replacing some of them with different states than the ones I originally had, because some of the states, it gets hard to find them, but I found other states I didn't have. So then I filled up the bookshelf again. And then guess what happened? We had something called a hurricane happen, and they got destroyed again.
Of course.
And I finally got around to, I just have the two main U.S. books, Weird U.S. and Weird U.S. Volume 2. I never bothered trying to buy the others. Maybe someday I'll try it for Weird Florida and Weird New Jersey again. But yeah,
I don't know. I'm starting to feel like at this point you might want to start investing in like the oversized Ziploc bags to keep all of your paper products in.
I'll say this: I do have big plastic bins. I have some big plastic bins in storage. Maybe over the summer I plan on hopefully organizing my storage a bit. Hi everybody, welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer.
Exactly.
Let's go through the chat. I don't remember who was first. Was it Connie Cleary? Welcome. Always good to see you. And Ruby Hoove, what's going on here?
Yes, thank you so much, Ruby Hoove. Ruby Hoove, who is an incredible, I'm not even going to say channel supporter. She is a community supporter because she does this on so many different channels, going around and gifting memberships. I want to. I think this of all the, and these are always random. She'll buy a gift membership for someone, and it just goes to a random person who's visited the stream in the past. And this one went to Jonas J. Campbell, who has been very influential in trying to help me get. We're having a bit of a glitch trying to get me a Premier membership over on that Park Place. So I think it's fun and ironic that he gets a membership to my channel now. So there you go. Thank you so much, Ruby Hooven. Welcome to membership, Jonas J. Campbell.
That is an author name. If Jonas J. Campbell ever wants to go become a fiction writer, that is a perfect author name right there.
There you go. And he's got this look. He looks like I don't know, like a Jedi master, who wears glasses.
Of course. Ruby
I was ribbing him about that when we met in Florida too.
Ruby Who, welcome. Actually, I already said Ruby Who, welcome.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, well, I hope you feel better really, really soon. But yeah,
people have been getting that all around. That was going around in my household a few weeks back. Luckily, I didn't catch it, but I thought, Josh.
Yeah, but you're a carrier. You gave it to them all, I'm sure.
I did not.
I did not.
Though I work in a public area. Many of us didn't get to hide during the pandemic. We had to be out there on the front lines in front of the public. Anyway, JPRPH1, welcome.
Hail.
Let's see. Big Al presents welcome. Hello, happy St. Patrick's Day. To all of our Irish members in the chat, and even if you're not Irish, feel free to celebrate. Wear some green tomorrow. All right.
I'll tell you, yes. I don't know Irish very well, but I love the idea. I love the idea. It works well in English. I don't know what it means in Irish.
Everybody likes the idea of Irish. No,
I like the idea of no bra. That's the idea I like.
Okay, I don't know what it means. Aaron has no bra. Is that what you're saying? Okay,
that's what I'm guessing.
Welcome, Netter of Netters Network. Okay, we got to get through these. Hello.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot to get through.
We got a lot of stories to get
starting
through.
To feel like Culture Casino. We've got 6 minutes to get through all the news that we have to get through.
I wonder if he has as many. He always gets some good scoops. I think I got one of my things from that. Something's
going
down. Every now and
again, though, you could take some pointers from him in how he gets through them quickly. You know, he just reads the title, says a few lines about it, move on to the next one.
I'm getting faster, but yeah, we still got to speed it up. Jesse Green, welcome. And CluuStudio and Deleted Scenes. I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, just keep typing in. I'll get to you at some point. But you got to bring the thing up.
Oh, yeah, I do. So let's go to the presentation.
Presentation.
And there you go. We're all set.
Now we're rectangles again, but who cares? Okay, anyway. You know what I was watching earlier today while I was working on this? I had Dick Tracy on.
Remember Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty? The Warren Beatty, yeah.
I think maybe someday this might be another idea for a Friday stream. Bear with me. Rivals of Batman '89. I'm not going to even, all the movies that came out in the wake that were sort of like Batman,
kind of inspired by like
Darkman.
Yeah, exactly.
Dick Tracy, The Shadow, and did Danny Elfman do the scores for all of them? If I remember right.
May have done. There was a TV series called Mantis that I
remember. Mantis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was that was an interesting show too.
Yep, that's kind of what I was going for, Clue. I mean, a little bit Siskel and Ebert, a little bit like just 70s talk show. I just felt it was kind of on brand.
They referenced Mantis on Fringe. Remember when they went into the alternate universe, the alternate Earth, and they said, "Well, Batman in your Earth? No, we have Mantis." because
Yeah,
Mantis, and I think that was another early J.J. Abrams production. So he was, or the
probably.
people that ran,
Which
I think one of the writers ran
because
Fringe wrote on it. Yeah.
because of the parallels between the two universes, it makes you almost wonder, well, did they try to do Batman in the late 80s, early 90s, and it just didn't catch on? Kind of like with Mantis. There are some great Easter eggs related to comic books. They had, I don't remember who it was.
Mm-hmm.
One of the characters in the alternate universe has some classic comic book covers up on his wall, but they are the alternate universe versions. So instead of Green Lantern, it's Red Lantern.
Oh wow!
And it was a classic. So it was Green Lantern. There was, I think it was Brave. Was it Brave and the Bold? I don't remember what title it was that teamed up Green Lantern and Green Arrow on a regular basis. Well, there was a classic cover from that they color changed, so it was Red Lantern and Red Arrow. And the death of Supergirl from Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Of course.
It was reversed, and it was the death of Superman, and Kara is holding Clark in her arms.
Oh.
And I can't remember what some of the other ones were, but I had to like zoom in, and then it wasn't until like the Blu-rays came out where I could get like clear images of them. Then come to find out, I could have just as easily looked them up online. People had already done this, but I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
That is. No, Fringe did get a Blu-ray release. It was one of the earliest series they were actually doing straight to Blu-ray. They also released it on DVD as well. But
hi, Matanui. Welcome.
We're here to talk about the good old days, aren't we?
What's good about the good old days, at least this week?
I thought we kind of only touched on this on Friday, so we would spend a little bit more time on Batcave playsets, because you seem to want to talk a bit more about that the last couple of weeks, so.
Love the Batcave, yes. So this one that you're showing, of course, is from the Mego line. You can even see that those are original first wave world's greatest superheroes, and you can tell by the hand on the Joker there. It's got this swivel riveted hand. They also had these very wide set legs. You can see on Batman how it looks like he's getting ready to ride a horse. They corrected that in future iterations, but they were very awkward when they first came out. But this playset was around for a number of years, and Mego had this great way of doing these incredibly deluxe.
Oh, wait, let me get, that's a different one. Okay.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a better image of it. Although this is from Figures Toy Company. This is the remake of it. So what they did was they took the re-release figures. You'll notice that they tried to recreate the poses of those figures. Mm-hmm. But Batman's legs aren't as wide set. And I can tell by looking that this is a newer version of Joker. But for the most part, you wouldn't tell. The other big difference is that Alfred Pennyworth in the upper right. That was only released in the last decade by Figures Toy Company. And
is this a remake of the old set? Is that what they're doing here?
It is a remake of the old set. So basically what we're getting at is you can obtain that now.
Wait, let me go back.
Well, the one you just had up, though, this one is... Okay. Not only is this the original, but and that Batmobile, you can also get a remake of it from Figures Toy Company as well.
$4.99 for a full-size
That was $4.99. Don't expect to get that price now from Figures Toy Company. But the important point is $16 for the Batcave with Bat Signal. As playsets go, when Mego put out playsets, they were incredibly reasonably priced because really all they were was the equivalent of laminated cardboard. They were cardboard printed out with vinyl on each side. And
so these
they
things were going to fall apart.
No, because of the
Really?
vinyl, they actually held up really well. Your biggest problem was going to be that sometimes the vinyl seams would split at the edges.
Yes.
But those are mendable. I've
This is-
seen many people do that. In fact, you could actually redo the vinyl by putting a vinyl over it and using an iron. You could reseal them. There's a lot of ways to.
That's reminding me of when I used to buy the Universal Monsters action figures in the 80s, and they had this this keepsake playset you could buy for them, but then it kept falling apart on me. It was like you put all your figures in this, kind of like how you had the Darth Vader head to keep all your Star Wars figures, and they had something for the Universal Monsters figures.
So this is the problem. See, Mego did this too until they kind of learned. They did cardboard sets that did not last, but then they started doing these vinyl covers to them that were almost indestructible. And I guess if you were, really clever, you could have vinylized your cardboard, to make them last. And I'm sure that collectors have done that from time to time. But nowadays, I think a lot of people would just go with some sort of a 3D print, maybe do something a little bit more elaborate. But there is a certain 70s kitsch to this. A very, oh yeah, and it was Montgomery Ward's. It says in the lower left there. That's right. You used to get these big catalogs, especially around Christmas time from Sears and Ward's.
And have all the toys in it. Yeah, when you were a kid, you want to get that catalog to see what toys there were.
Exactly.
There was no internet back then. How were you going to find out what's available?
And communicate it to your parents. You'd turn down the corner and you'd circle the thing you wanted, and you probably never got it, but at least they knew. We
used to get game flyers in the mail. That's how I know there'd be like from Electronics Boutique or Toys R Us. That's how I know good games were.
Yeah, there you go.
Which 80s boomer? The 1980s smart guy.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Anyway, let me see. Do I have a back of the box here? Oh, what is this? This might have been from the.
So
redo.
this is
later?
No, this is a shot of, I think it's this is again Figures Toy Company, so this is probably something you can get right now.
So I'm confusing this with the original set, but it's done in the.
That's fine because honestly, because of the way they have that figure posed, you can't tell if that is a really, really well preserved original or a re-release. I happen to know it's a re-release because it says Figures Toy Company in the upper right-hand corner. But that is, I think, a different... I want to say this is a different Figures Toy Company addition to that other playset, because it shows the bat boat in the background, but it's using the bat pole from the original one. I haven't been to Figures Toy Company for a while, so I haven't seen. This is from inside of that previous one that you were showing. It's a close-up of the little bat computer portion of that playset. And you can see right above, right in the top center of that picture, that little bat signal, that's a clasp that holds the doors together. And you drive the Batmobile through that, just like in the TV show, coming out of the Batcave. On the opposite side of that wall or whatever is the exterior of the Batcave, just like in the Batman 66.
Okay, well that sounds rather nifty.
Yeah.
I do want to make a comment. Joshua V, we're going to be talking about this later in the evening. I saw the Looney Tunes movie recently. I think it's the best movie of the year so far.
Oh, interesting.
I've been hearing good things. But yeah, we'll talk about it more later. If I have time, I'm going to try to catch that. Okay, this is later on, so.
Well, that's fine. I can still comment on that. In fact, I'm going to touch on it briefly to tell you guys, get yourselves over to Retro Blasting. He does a deep dive on this particular Batcave set. This set was, you can tell by the gold background and the costume that Joker is wearing, that this was from the late, just before Kenner took it back. Lower left-hand corner, you can see it says Toy Biz. That's what that gold background is.
So this is for the Batman 89 movie, basically. It coincides with that, yeah.
This was late in the Batman 89. And then this toy set, this play set, was then re-released later by Kenner and for for the very, they continued the line when they got the rights back. And then they released it again for the animated series. And they all had like a slightly different paint scheme and whatnot.
I did not have the animated series one on here, but I'll have to look at Retro.
No, that's fine.
Check out Retro Blasting's
Check
video.
out Retro Blastings for
I think I do have. Do I have the back of the box here? Yes, I do. There's the back of the box that gives more details. Is this set any good? That's my question to you.
I didn't have it, but it really did look good to me because it's got a couple different elements of play feature. You're seeing the interior of the actual Batcave there. My understanding is that the other side of it had the exterior of Wayne Manor, and there was a fold-out segment that was part of the interior of Wayne Manor. So it was like almost like three elements of the Batcave, environment in one.
Really?
It actually says 5 action-packed movie scenes, so I might be. Oh, I think it somehow incorporated like the Acme Joker's origin scene.
You get like a tub of chemicals to put near a ledge or something, and
but you can see the ledge right next to him, so you could probably include your own vat of slime.
Get out your own He-Man slime and stick it under.
Exactly.
What do we got? We got a little jail cell under there to put your criminals in, your criminal masterminds.
And of course, you've got the bat elevator. Apparently,
you need an elevator,
right?
Let's be honest. We're always fascinated by the Batcave. One of the things I loved in the Lego Batman game was you get to go around and mess around in the Batcave, which I thought was really neat.
There are 2 locations in the DC universe that I have always loved seeing, like a map or breakdown of the locations of, and that's the Batcave and the Fortress of Solitude. And I have all kinds of references for all the different iterations of them. I can tell you what's in each room, how you get from one room to another, the origin of all the little Easter eggs in them. And I wasn't even a big reader of Batman comics, but I was really into all of those reference materials.
So
here it is. This is a great view of it folded out. So on the and of course this is the same set, but from Batman Returns. And so you're seeing, if you look at like the left-hand side of it, is basically what we were seeing in the other pictures, the front and back of this. On the right-hand side is the exterior of Wayne Manor. The middle section, of course, is, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just like in the Mego version, the entrance to the cave that you could drive in and out of. They really economized the space to make maximum use of one play set to give you a lot of play value.
Huh. So you get stately Wayne Manor, and then you on the front, and then the Batcave in the back, right?
Right, exactly. And then, like I said, on the other side of where you see Robin sitting at the other side of the Bat computer, basically, I think was the Acme Lab or whatever.
That kid has a weird look on his face. I'm just saying.
Because I just picture some photographers saying, okay, hold that smile. Hold it.
I feel bad for the kids buy these toys. It's got to be the most awkward thing. They're probably taking 100 pictures of you. Okay, now moving on to...
Again, this is the repaint of the one we just looked at. This one now
No, this is better. This looks better. It's the same set, isn't it? It's the same set that they've sold you again.
It's the exact same set. The problem with it is because they incorporated the super huge wings into the new Batmobile, it can't drive through that door that it's poking its nose through.
The Batman Forever Batmobile. You know what? We'll table that.
That was a Joel Schumacher thing. Yeah, exactly.
We'll table that for another time. Yes.
Right.
Oh boy. Anyway, but yeah, here we go. You got the kid with the red hair like the Riddler, right? I guess that's on purpose, right?
Yeah.
It seems flashier, but maybe the figures are better. I don't know.
It's just a higher contrast of colors. It's really the
Okay.
same thing. It's backlit, which makes a lot of sense. I love it. It talks about packed with action, which I don't disagree with, but it talks about a breakaway skylight. And
Yeah.
Michael French, as he was describing, was like, it was very clear to him that they were recreating the scene from the first Batman movie where he smashes through the window and, zip
Yeah.
lines in. But why would you have that in Wayne Manor? That doesn't make a lot of sense,
Why didn't they
but
make like a bad guy compound for Batman for like Riddler's secret maze or something? I don't know. Why didn't they do that? Could have had.
yeah, well, because here's the thing. Unfortunately, playsets tended to be pretty expensive. They were more expensive than the action figures, more expensive than the vehicles. So you had to get as much play feature into one as possible. If you were going to get a playset, you might get one, maybe two, if your parents were really well off. And
I
you
never
figure,
had. Yeah.
hmm?
I don't think I ever had play sets as a kid. I think I had a couple. I did. I
Yeah.
had one Star Wars one, the droid place from Jabba's palace. I had that one, and I had an inherited Death Star. I inherited it like from another family member. They gave me the old
Oh,
Death
that
Star.
multi-level one?
Yeah. The for the large scale figures. Yeah.
I had that as a kid, and then Netter got me a new one after we got
Gotcha.
married. Not a new one, a used one, but replaced
They're hard to
my
find.
childhood
I
one.
mean, yeah. And then we have, of course, we're going to do another one.
Another repaint of it, yes.
No, this is Batman and Robin.
Yes.
That's a boy, right? I don't know if that's a boy or a girl. I can't tell. Anyway, but but look, it's like a frosted window up there instead because of Mr. Freeze,
Yeah,
right?
because Mr. Freeze, exactly. So yeah, they just did the cave in ice. So it's got an ice motif, yes.
I imagine though this is useful for when you're playing with these sets and you break one or something, and then you just buy it when the new movie comes out, right?
Well, there's part of me that feels like if you're like going to be a diehard collector, you get all of them, and then like you can swap out either the parts or the playset itself.
Or the
Because I
Batmobile.
would totally see using this one with the original Batmobile and like a little Christmas tree out in front and make it, a Batman Returns.
Okay.
Catwoman, Christmas time, the Penguin. Yeah. I could see that.
Hold on. I did
Yeah,
want
I
to
think
go
we did
back
this
to no, I wanted to go back to
and
this
is
weird one I had. I
Yeah.
got to go back in time. But I remember on Fringe when the visitors were in the other universe and they saw Back to the Future and they come out of theater and it says Eric Stoltz on the marquee.
Right,
As
exactly.
the main star. That's a little in joke. All right, sorry, I got to go back. There was one other Batman set I had on here. Actually, I have two more, but this one. No, wait,
No,
not this one.
that's
Hold
the
on.
Mego
Bear
one.
with me.
Before this one.
It was right before the beginning because
Yeah.
I wasn't.
So
Okay.
we were talking Mego. This is still Mego. You can see the logo in the lower right hand corner.
It's back in the 70s, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, later 70s. So what
Okay.
happened was in the earlier 70s, you had those 9-inch action figures that we've been talking about all along, right? And
Yes.
This was in the 70s we had some bad decisions by the administration at the time, embargoing gas that caused gas prices to go through the roof. And what people don't realize is it's not just how much it costs you to fill up your gas tank. It's also the price of everything that's made from petroleum products. For example, plastics. So the cost of plastic went through the roof. So in going into this late 60s, early 70s, it was 12-inch action figures. It was Barbie, G.I. Joe, Action Man, so forth. They were, and even $6 Million Man. They were pushing the 12-inch scale. They were going like 13 inches on those figures. Well, Mego reset the scale by taking the figures down to a 9-inch scale, and G.I. Joe for a very short time went from 12-inch to 9-inch, and we got Adventure Team G.I. Joe. They were trying to get What happened?
What do you mean? What happened? You there?
I just lost my screen. Are you still hearing me? Okay,
I'm still
good.
hearing, and I still see the screen.
I don't know what happened. Okay. I will keep talking as long as I can, but I think we just had a fluctuation on my end, and I might lose internet in a moment.
Okay, but this is a smaller figure action set.
This came out after Kenner came along with their 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures. Mego says, okay, well, if that's going to be the new scale, and they moved all of their superhero figures down to what they called the pocket heroes.
Okay.
And that's what you're seeing here. They're 3 3/4, very low articulation. Technically, it's 5 points of articulation, but the legs at the hips were so tight, it was like rubber briefs and plastic legs, and you didn't want to twist them too much. You were afraid you'd break them, but nonetheless,
or the briefs would pop off.
Well, yeah. What it gave you the opportunity was smaller scale on. Welcome, PJ of Orville Nation. Good to see you, my friend.
So smaller scale, yes.
We got a smaller scale of the what do you call them? The
Batcave
vehicles. Well, the vehicles, but that also meant smaller scale on the playsets. Now, whereas cardboard and vinyl, I was saying, were cheap but good, this vacuform plastic was cheap but bad.
This looks terrible.
It kind of was. They did, and this is off topic, but Mego also did Star Trek figures in the same scale, and they did a Bridge of the Enterprise using this vacuform plastic, and they don't last because that hollow plastic over time gets very brittle and breaks and cracks. It looks great, but did not last. If they were putting this kind of stuff out today, I can guarantee you that people would be taking these things, doing resin casts of them, and then putting them away and just playing with the resin castings, because they'd at least last.
Okay, so this is not a miniature set then, though. So it was like for Star Wars.
It is smaller than that. Yeah, it was okay. like Star Wars size. Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. Okay, we got one more, and then we're gonna call it a night on the Batcave. I didn't do the Batman animated series version. I didn't realize there was one. I don't remember there. It's funny because maybe I just wasn't collecting toys at the time, but I didn't remember there being a ton of Batman the animated series toys. But maybe there were. Okay. But these look superior. They look much better than what we got later. This next one I find interesting, though, because it is a micro set. Hold on. There we go. Look at this.
Oh,
Can you see it?
I do. I don't even recognize this.
This looks like a Micro Machine miniature set with little figures, kind of almost like those Star Wars miniature sets I told you about. I never even heard of this, but it popped up when I was doing my research. And then you can fold it up into like a little thing, and it looks interesting. You've never heard of this? I don't know if Michael from
Not this particular. I mean, yeah. I know that Star Trek had a line of these ultra miniature things, and my understanding is that they're starting to do that right now with Star Wars. But I've
seen them on Amazon. They look neat. I'll say that. Yeah. The thing is though, but I don't know. It just looked interesting, but you don't know about it. So that's it for the Batcave. I'm sure they're still making Batcave. I know they've done tons of Lego Batman sets. Some even based on the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which I thought was funny. You get a Lego Heath Ledger Joker. Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's like, but I don't like that for movies, that movie series Batmobile, though. I think that's my least favorite Batmobile.
I agree.
Being honest.
I agree. I think
actually, maybe the Pattinson Batmobile is worse, the newest one, but I just remember I know what he was going for. Let's go for realism. If a Batmobile really existed in our world and you wanted something that could take damage, it would be like some kind of Hummer tank thingy that you'd have in the desert storm or whatever. But no, no.
And we are going to have more bat news coming up, but in the short term, let's just turn our attention to Warner Brothers in DC. unfortunately, I just realized that I did not shorten these
Well, just paste what you got.
URLs.
Okay.
So yeah, I have to
Just paste
break it
what you
up
got.
because
Just break
people
it up.
don't know how to do short URLs apparently.
Peter Safran. There's more on this story too. There was more
I
late breaking stuff on this,
I
which I
I
didn't get
I
to
was not up to
pre-screen.
date on it, but I speculated that there would be. I was
Uh,
almost certain there would be.
but let me go ahead and read. And I should probably actually pull up my notes. So just give me 10 minutes while I find those. Okay. I'm
Oh
sorry.
gosh,
All
my
right.
goodness!
Where'd I
Well, let
put
me
them? Oh,
vamp
they're
for
right.
another 10 minutes.
Oh wait, they're right here. I have the doc version. Do I have the PDF anywhere? Where's the PDF? Well, I'll just pull up my Word document. Doesn't matter if I open up another program. Can you believe it's March 16th already, huh?
Right? Time is just going way too fast. I can't keep up.
Yes. St. Patty's Day. Easter's going to be late this year.
Yeah,
Was it late April
that
for
is.
Easter? That's the
I
latest
think
Easter
so.
we've had in a while. So here we go. Peter Safran, rumored DC Studios departure could pose a major problem for the DCU. Earlier this week, a report from Puck claimed that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is looking to end Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi's stint as Warner Brothers Pictures co-chiefs. Okay, so that is in this article. They've spent an awful lot more than they made for the studio since taking charge of its film slate, and the frugal Zaslav, who hasn't shied away from scrapping near-complete projects, appears to have reached the end of his tether. DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran is reportedly a top contender to take over from Luca and Abdi, though that would currently leave James Gunn to run the studio alone. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they'll find somebody else probably to co-chair it, but I think he needs to move Safran up. I heard Zaslav is livid behind the scenes stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
heard he was screaming at them. I think over Joker filet do.
Yeah,
And
he was, and rightly so. It did not perform. It was a dumpster fire.
And plus, we have more news about another Warner Brothers release this last week that didn't do so hot. It makes zero sense to me, Jeff Schneider said, unless his DC Studios co-chief James Gunn has become such a control freak that Safran feels like he isn't there. There isn't much for him to do over there. That could explain why he'd take another position within the studio, which would allow him to work on a greater range of projects outside of his comic book movies and TV shows. No, I think it's just that he's getting a promotion because the entire studio, it's like I'm giving you a promotion because I'm kicking out the people who are in charge of the whole studio. That said, I'm told that number 3 at DC Studios, Shantae Nyang, isn't quite ready to replace Safran in the capacity of co-CEO, nor is she necessarily the right fit alongside Gunn. So while the Warner Brothers slate may fare better under Safran, DC Studios will ultimately suffer in the long run without him taking on the brunt of business responsibilities for the studio, he concluded. Until now, the belief has been that Gunn handles the creative, with Safran, a veteran Hollywood producer, managing DC Studios' business operations. It seems highly unlikely that Gunn has the time or the inclination to become DC Studios' Kevin Feige, especially as that would leave him little to no room to write or direct any new DC Universe projects. Still, whether Gunn is paired with the inexperienced Nong after another executive, it's bound to have major consequences for this burgeoning franchise. The first big test will be Superman. All signs currently point to the movie being a hit. Fan response has been positive, but should it underperform, Zaslav may sour on the DC brand and decide that it's also not worth sinking any further money into. He didn't shy away from scrapping Batgirl after all. With any luck, the DCU is here to stay. The superhero genre as a whole would benefit from its success, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see how things shake out. It's funny. I do work with coworkers that are younger than me, so I sometimes ask, what movie are they looking forward to this summer? And I can
Mm-hmm.
usually, and it's weird, I'm not going to say they're a gauge for the normal American public, but I notice they're not hot on Marvel right now. They're just not excited, but they're actually sort of
Nobody
excited.
is. That really is a key indicator of what's going on. In fact, Snarky J just had a great video about Captain Falcon movie that was just out, and how she's like, it has nothing to do with how good the movie is. People are just completely checked out from Marvel. They don't care anymore.
Yeah. And I don't know though. I have my own reservations about the Superman movie, but to someone who doesn't follow this stuff like we do, they may think, "Hey, this is the new thing. Let's go see it." I thought they
Yeah.
might be a little gun shy, to coin a phrase, after
Ah,
Man of Steel and Superman Returns had come out, because I felt those were too. I remember when Man of Steel came out and people are praising it, and I was like, I didn't like it. Well, it was better than Superman Returns, and I'm like, well, maybe. I'm like,
that doesn't mean it's good.
I had
I mean, two
problems with
things can be
both.
true.
It's like, it was
If
kind of
that is your benchmark, this is my problem. People are so used to mediocrity that they'll accept anything, and it's like you deserve way better, and you unfortunately are enabling them to keep churning out this crap.
Gunn should not be left on his own. I worry that could be what happens. They stick Gunn in charge of the whole thing, and then and things will spiral out of control from there. I could see that
Well,
happening.
and I would say it's a simple business model. I understand that people like Zaslav and stuff, they don't know these properties, and neither do they
No.
need to. But what they do need to pay attention to is it successful or not? You were responsible for a bunch of movies that lost us money. You are a money loser. You got to go, what is it? Glengarry Glen Ross. Contracts are for closers, right? You're a loser. Get the hell out of here.
Gunn has, of course, been successful so far, especially with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies over at Marvel. In fact, there were many people suspecting he was going to be one of the major forces for Marvel until the Twitter controversy happened, and then Disney got rid of him. Then they brought him back for Guardians 3, but at that point, Warner Brothers was already courting him to take over DC.
This you could argue that this is and I think there's a lot of people that want to couch this in terms of the whole DEI movement and pushing out talented, experienced people for people with completely useless qualities based on their color, their gender, their preferences, their who they like to do bedroom things with, which does nothing to help your product or move your business. But be that as it may, even before all of that, I have seen companies make stupid decisions all my life, all the time that I've been in the business world. I have seen people with experience and talent pushed out for somebody cheaper. It doesn't have to be because of gender, race, color, any of those kinds of things, just cheaper. And you get what you pay for. And you don't get the product, and then you lose business, and then you wonder why the hell it's happening. And that's exactly what's happening. Regardless of the reason that it's happening. You keep bringing in people that don't know what they're doing, that are not providing you with profits, and you just keep contracting them. It's like, why do you take the spoiled milk out of the refrigerator, find it all chunky, and go, well, let me just put it back and see if it's better tomorrow? It won't be.
Well, that was the Snyderverse. That was the Snyderverse.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think we're going to find the same thing happens with James Gunn. The question is, how long do they let him keep making mistake after mistake before they say, yeah, let's not do the Snyder thing all over again.
So I'm sorry, but I think James Gunn's Superman will have critics singing its praises, but it'll perform worse than Man of Steel. I'm thinking the opposite though. But again, I can't predict the future. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it'll probably do good, but people will notice there's a lot of problems with it after the fact. But
I will argue
I might be wrong. We just don't know.
I do feel like the media and the critics have turned. They are not blanket approving things anymore.
They never liked DC anyway.
They never did. They never liked superhero movies. They never did.
They kissed the butt of Disney because it's Disney.
That's exactly right. But guess what? They're not doing that anymore.
Not as often.
They're starting to realize that that Disney has lost the public, and unless the media wants to lose more of the public, they're starting to read the room. Right? So now they're starting to go back to being critical of superhero movies. So now, unless your superhero movie is just so good that it wins over critics and the mainstream and people who just like adventure movies, you've got a dud on your hands, at least as far as the critics go.
Hey, Boomer, they call me Nate Knows because I know. Yes, funny. And Darth Vader was fine with the Snyderverse. You can like the Snyderverse. I just remember when Justice League came out, and of course people argued that wasn't the version Snyder had planned, which I know we eventually got. I think that fell off the rails when he got out of the project. But yeah, I don't know, man. I wish they would just take a break from DC for a while. And let's get to this latest article. This has me very concerned. You have the
Which
next one?
Is this the James Gunn reveals? Yeah.
Yes.
This is, yeah.
I don't variety even know articles do not let you take things with the picture in them. All right. But that's a character from the upcoming movie.
Seems like a spoiler to me. It looks like...
everything about this movie is getting spoiled. That's the weird
Why
thing.
bother seeing it? We know this person, whoever he is going to lose. He's going to get dead or defeated somehow. So,
well, Superman James Gunn reveals the photo of the film's mysterious DC villain. Did you say it was a dude?
I can't tell.
Okay.
Could
anyway,
be a dude, could be a chick. Could go either way.
DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has revealed a disturbing new image from Superman featuring Maria Gabriela de Ferreira as the Engineer, a character from DC's controversial superhero team, The Authority. The promotional image shows the Engineer apparently dead in what appears to be a stadium setting connecting to previous trailer footage where Superman battles Ultraman in a similar location. I did not see that. Is that the Ultraman from the alternate Earth? Are they bringing that into this?
The symbol that he's got on his chest, so I have no idea.
This marks the first official confirmation of the Engineer's significant role in the upcoming film and suggests darker stakes for David Cornsweet's Superman when the movie releases July 11th. The image is a particular...
I swear if they turn this Superman into a killer too, I'm done. I am just done.
The image is particularly ominous given the Authority standalone film has been placed on the back burner despite initially being announced as part of the DC Studios' first slate of projects. Happy anniversary to the Engineer, created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch, who you can see played to sinister perfection by puppy in human form Gaby de Ferreira in Superman this July, Gunn shared on X. Previously, fans caught glimpses of the Engineer in the film's teaser trailer, where eagle-eyed viewers spotted
I don't know any better than you do.
Defaria, walking beneath a Luthor Corp sign, hinting at potential connections between the character and Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. Now that we know she'll be at the same place as Ultraman, it's fair to assume the Engineer is indeed working with Lex Luthor. Was this like the Puppy Bowl trailer where we seeing him fight Ultraman?
I don't know. I guess
that whole campaign got screwed up. I didn't even bring a news story up with that because I thought it was so pathetic that they didn't have anything at the Super Bowl. They put it on during the Puppy Bowl. And I guess that was to save money. That could be actually a reason this movie doesn't do well. I don't know where the marketing is on this right now. Do they have any money for marketing?
Who knows?
Maybe it'll ramp up as the movie comes out. The Engineer, whose civilian identity is Angela Spica, possesses nanotechnology-enhanced abilities that allow her to transform her body into various mechanical configurations. In DC Comics, she's a core member of the Authority, a team that uses controversial and often violent methods to accomplish their goals, standing in stark contrast to Superman's traditional approach to heroism. The character's inclusion in Superman represents Gunn's commitment to introducing lesser-known DC characters to mainstream audiences while still honoring their complex comic book origins. This reveal also reiterates that Superman will serve as a launchpad for introducing Authority characters before their eventual team-up. The intertwining of Superman with the Authority creates fascinating narrative possibilities for the DC universe. In the comics, Superman's idealism often puts him at odds with the Authority's pragmatic utilitarianism, creating dramatic potential that could span multiple films. By introducing the Engineer in what appears to be a confrontational and antagonistic role, Gunn lays the groundwork for exploring ethical conflicts central to superhero storytelling, namely the limits of power and moral responsibilities that come with it. The foundation allows the DCU to tackle sophisticated themes while maintaining the accessibility and optimism associated with Superman. I remember the often talked about comic book, Whatever Happened to Truth, Justice, and the American Way, where Superman battles the elite who were based off the Authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the Authority are also part of the DC comic universe after DC purchased Wildstorm. Did they eventually
Yes.
enter in those characters into the official, kind of like when they bought up Captain Marvel and Green Arrow back in the day from other comic book companies? So now these characters are part of the DC universe. Because at first I was saying, why are we having the Authority in this? They're not even part of the DC universe, but I corrected myself by looking it up. Not
That is
interested in the
true.
Authority. Is anybody interested in the Authority? I'm being genuine with the chat. Does
So
any viewer like
this
the Authority?
again goes
Maybe you
to
do.
this
Yeah.
again goes to something that I was getting at about hiring, non-talented people, right? People that don't know what they're doing. And unfortunately, there is this idea that if they were in the comics, they know the comics. Well, the problem is, for the past 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years, the people that have been doing these comics are have been the same, shall we say, people that write for modern audiences. Let's put it that way, okay? And so if you look at the sales of comics that have completely gone down the tubes, you understand why, if you start drawing from those comics, the movies aren't going to do well. We said the same thing about the last 3-4 phases of Marvel, right? They started to draw from a period in Marvel comics called All New, All Different Marvel, where they decided to start race and gender swapping all of the characters, and people stopped buying the comics. Nobody read those comics. So now you're going to make movies out of them and think they're going to do any better? Remember the Chunky Milk? Same thing.
So
And
maybe they're
so
doing the
and
same
DC
thing with
did the same
DC.
thing.
Yeah, they're
DC did
pulling
the
from
same thing. We were leading up to this in our conversation on Batman 89 and Batman Returns. The movie, Warner Brothers, and really all of the people that wanted to do superhero movies, took the wrong lesson from Batman. Instead of looking at it and saying, this is a good Batman movie, they said, this is a good superhero movie. So we got to make Superman like this. And that's how you end up with the Snyderverse.
Anyway, I saw DC Comics in 2020 that was literally quoting the Communist Manifesto. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So look at this. The deleted scenes was coming. This actress is married. Well, yeah, she's probably taken. I'm sorry, but I don't know anything about this. I'm really getting a bad feel. Matt Inouye, I wanted to comment on the comment he made a few minutes ago when he said,
Okay.
why is this going to be an extended trailer for future DC movies? And I hate to say
Yeah.
this, I remember when I saw Avengers: Age of Ultron, and I was angry because that's what it felt like when I watched that movie. Because I'm like, you're having all this setup for a Thor movie, which they never shot because Taika Waititi didn't want to make that movie. Remember that? So they were doing all this weird setup, and they make it as a joke in the beginning of Thor Ragnarok. And I'm like, you don't have to sell me on Marvel. I'm in the seat. I like these movies. I don't need future. You don't. There's setup and then there's setup. Do you understand? If you're spending too much time taking away from the initial plot, like maybe you're spending too much time in a Superman movie, not having Superman as the main character. Again, not seeing this movie. Maybe.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I need to step away. I'm having some computer problems.
That's fine.
And I
if
Windows.
You need to restart, I'll just get started on the next story.
I do need to restart. So yeah, I'm going to need you to take over. I will be back as soon as I can.
Take a break. But an extended trailer type of movie would be the wrong way to go. But we just don't know. Yeah, Ragnarok ruined Thor. I didn't hate it as much as you did, but it did lead the way to Thor: Love and Thunder, which I had no interest in whatsoever. But Troy had to step away for a moment, but I will try to take over here. And it's funny, this actually goes into, I don't know if any of you had a chance to catch our Batman Returns commentary on Friday night, but it was rather illuminating. We go into the whole controversy with the McDonald's Happy Meals that probably got Tim Burton canned from future Batman movies, which is a pity because I actually was a big fan of Batman Returns. But let me go ahead and paste that, and let's see if I can do what Troy can do. Let's see here. Show. That's deleted scenes comment. Okay, go down. No. Well, it's in the chat. I'm going to start reading from the article. All right. So this is Batman Revolution novel brings the Riddler to Tim Burton's Batman universe. So the Riddler will join the world of Tim Burton's Batman in the upcoming novel Batman Revolution. The book serves as a sequel to last year's Batman Resurrection, with both stories set between the events of 1989's Batman and 1992's Batman Returns. Written by John Jackson Miller, also writer of Batman Resurrection, Star Wars Kenobi, Batman Revolution will be released in hardcover, ebook, and audiobook on October 28th. In the 400-page novel, Batman matches wits with the Riddler and uncovers Gotham's past during the 4th of July. Here's the official synopsis from the publisher Random House Worlds. It's summer and Gotham City has cause for celebration. The last vestiges of Joker's toxic legacy have finally faded just in time for the mayor to partner with retail magnate Max Schreck to stage a 4th of July celebration for the ages. But not everyone is rejoicing. Batman's eternal vigilance continues as threats from rival gangs and masked criminals escalate by the day. Meanwhile, on the streets, protests grow in oppositions to the city's lavish excesses. No one is experiencing the struggle between Gotham's optimism and doubt more than Norman Pincus, the Gotham Globe's humble copy boy. He's the unacknowledged mastermind behind the newspaper's mega popular Riddle Me This word puzzles. But Norman harbors a secret. He is the smartest man in Gotham City, using his prodigious skills to solve crimes anonymously for years via the police tip line before Batman even knows there's a crime to solve. The Riddler was played by Jim Carrey when Joel Schumacher took over the film franchise with 1995's Batman Forever, but that's not canon in the novel. So this novel is not recognizing the Schumacher movies. So if you want to revisit the Batman films of Tim Burton, you can do that. But hold on a second. Oh wait, I know what to do. Get out of here. Go here. And if it would just let me see the chat. Okay. So you never knew what it was doing with Thor. Hold on. Comments. Bring me to the new comments. All right. Sorry about this. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. Give me one moment. Okay. But hold on a minute. If I could read my comments. It's not letting me go down. All right. Hold on. Give me one moment. Hello? Okay, can everybody hear me? Sorry about that. I must have gotten separated from this. We're going to go to Bateman. Okay, what happened? I don't know what happened. I was singing a song about down on the farm, and then suddenly I disappeared. Welcome, Deleted Scenes. Thank you for giving me the thumbs up. Okay, so this is the latest. This is the State Farm commercial that everybody's talking about this weekend. Instead of Batman, you have Bateman, as in Jason Bateman. And I don't know if any of you got to see it, but I'll go ahead and read a quick article about that for you right now. State Farm has released a new commercial that feels like it should have aired during the Super Bowl. Perhaps it was meant to, as the insurance company had canceled its spot due to the Los Angeles wildfires. The commercial features Jason Bateman as Bateman, a Batman-esque crime fighter who can't get the job done. The spot features a multitude of DC characters, including Joker, Two-Face, Catwoman, Commissioner Gordon, and of course the Dark Knight himself. Check it out above. For the first time ever, Batman and Bateman share the screen in a hilarious showdown that highlights the differences that set State Farm apart from its competitors. Reads the official description, because when it comes to protection, you just don't want coverage, you want State Farm. In addition to Jason Bateman, the commercial features Zia as Catwoman, Jordan the Stallion as Commissioner Gordon, Kai Kinnett as Gotham City Citizen. Kristen Cook, State Farm's Chief Agency Sales and Marketing Officer, said, "This campaign creates an opportunity for our brand that is known for driving cultural relevancy through entertainment to boldly ask consumers if they're confident the insurance they have includes the coverage they need. Through the juxtaposition of Batman and Bateman, we're building the narrative for consumers to look at the insurance industry and question the value being offered by our competitors, because it's clear that just having insurance isn't the same as getting the full value of having State Farm." Are y'all excited? Did anyone in the chat see this commercial? There's a full version of it. So they could do, but let me see. Matt Anui, did you see this? Is this news? It's a it's a Batman commercial. Come on. It's like you're seeing something on the big screen for the first time. It's be funny if Ricky Schroeder showed up. Not me. So no one's seen this commercial. I forgot Jason Bateman was on Silver Spoons, wasn't he? And he was also on Valerie's Family, that later became the Hogan Family, because the lead actress left that series, and they wrote her off as being dead. Have not seen this commercial. Well, it's got the Joker, it's got Two-Face, it's got Poison Ivy, it has the Riddler, and the idea is Jason Bateman is not Batman, so like when Poison Ivy is, you have no idea who Jason Bateman is. Well, he was a TV actor. He was in he's been in movies. He was in Juno, the Diablo Cody written movie. But anyway, I don't know. I thought it was a fun commercial. Troy may have had other ideas. I was going to get his thoughts on it. I saw the commercial was better than CW's Batwoman. Yes, I agree. It's just nice seeing Batman fighting Batman villains like the Riddler and all of them, and then we just get this, and this is it for Batman until they bring Pattinson back, or until the DC Universe figures out what it's doing. But we do have the Clayface movie to look forward to. So anyway, well, that's it. We're moving on. Hopefully Troy comes back. I hope he's okay. He lives in the Chicago area. This one really excited me, though. This is Daffy and Porky find home ownership despicable in this exclusive The Day the Earth Blew Up clip. I didn't know if any of you knew about this movie. I didn't. I've seen I saw no trailers for this in theaters. I didn't even know this was a movie that was in production. I'll read from the article. What's up, Doc? The Day the Earth Blew Up, the first Looney Tunes feature that isn't an omnibus of merry melodies, finally hits, Earth this week. To celebrate the Earth finally blowing up, the AV Club is debuting an exclusive clip featuring two of our greatest living movie stars, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, who have only just realized that there's a giant hole in the roof. No one said home ownership was going to be easy. It's something taught in those Three Little Pigs cartoons. cartoons, which somehow Porky didn't book. In this clip, Daffy and Porky finally notice the hole and some sticky green sludge that's collecting around the damage. The day the Earth blew up finally puts Daffy and Porky in the driver's seat as the lead of their own movie. Though many would assume Bugs Bunny stars of the very first feature-length Mary movie, it's a job for the descendants of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Here they have to save the world and their home and live up to the standards of one Farmer Jim. I'm assuming they meant ancestors of Duck Dodgers. Subject to numerous delays, though none as extreme as Coyote versus Acme. The Day the Earth Blew Up heads to theaters amid a hostile time for Looney Tunes. For a solid year after the Acme controversy, it seemed like we'd never see the Looney Tunes in their element ever again. After all, if a movie starring John Cena and Wile E. Coyote is perceived as unsellable, what hope does Daffy Duck have? Yet, with an updated look, a tight focus, and an always game Porky Pig, one hopes the tunes will make more merry melodies for years to come. The Day the Earth Blew Up opened in theaters on Friday. I had no idea about this movie. I know someone in the chat saw they had seen it. Troy, you back?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. So,
Good.
I had a little bit of technical difficulty. For some reason, when I posted the comment for the links for the stories, I then couldn't read the chat. And then I started singing the Down on the Farm, the Pigs Ask for You song. You know that song?
No?
My
I
dad
don't.
sing an Irish
It's
song.
okay.
The idea is you sing the Down on the Farm, the chickens ask for you, the chickens ask for you. Down, it's a song you sing when you're drunk.
I would imagine, because I
Yes.
can't imagine singing when I'm sober.
Okay, the point is though, you substitute the word "ask" for something else, and it's funny because maybe it's not funny.
Because
Anyway,
you're drunk, exactly.
Anyway, speaking of butts, apparently this Daffy Duck and Porky Pig movie has a lot of butt jokes in it. So, if YouTubers say this movie is good, I will see it. Trust word of mouth. I think they were split. Chris Gore loved it. The other guy in Film Threat didn't care for it as much. They said if you liked Ren and Stimpy a lot, you'll like this as well. Apparently, there's weird humor like that in this.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the most ringing of endorsements. Little concerned about that, to be honest with you.
I'm kind of excited though that we have a 90-minute, looks like traditionally animated, or at least appearing to look, Looney Tunes movie with Daffy Duck and Porky Pigs in the lead. I mean, that's enough to want me to give it a chance.
I'm with you. It's my only concern is, I mean, that Ren and Stimpy thing implies a lot of blue humor, some adult disgusting jokes.
Well, yeah.
And I think Warner Brothers can get away with it a little bit more if you look at the history of these Looney Tunes characters.
They were not necessarily made for kids.
Disney.
Yeah, they're not made for kids.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, even the Disney cartoons, I know people are talking Mickey and Donald, like Chris was like, I wasn't a Disney guy, I was a Looney Tunes guy. Mickey and Donald were for kids. And I'm thinking, Donald Duck, yes and no, was made for kids. If you watch some of those old cartoons, the whole idea of his shorts was that he would lose his temper. And the antics that came and the fallout that came from his losing his temper.
And there were some Easter eggs in there that probably went over most kids' heads, but the adults caught them. Like there's a famous one that introduces and now I can't remember if this is Disney, if it's Disney or if it's, I think it was Disney. Yes, it was Disney's Three Little Pigs, and you know the story of the three pigs.
Yes.
They all go over to the one brother's house who's got the brick house because they're trying to hide from the wolf. And the one brother in the brick house has a portrait of their father, and it's links of sausage.
You don't find that funny?
I do. I absolutely do. But it's one of the kind of things that the adults would have caught that and the kids would not have even noticed.
There was an off joke in one of the Porky Pig Daffy Duck People don't realize that was kind of a tradition of pairing up Porky Pig and Daffy Duck in a lot of the old shorts. And there was one where they were going to work, and Daffy Duck kept saying, "Your sister is a something. Like your sister is a baker. Your sister." He keeps saying these things, and he says, and then finally Porky Pig, "No, she's not. She's a butcher, and she smokes hams." And I'm thinking, wait, what? Because it's he's a pig.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like, oh my god.
I don't know though. This looks fun. It looks fun. I don't know if it's good or not, but it looks fun, and it looks like Warner Brothers had no faith in this movie because I saw I just heard about it this week.
Yeah,
and I don't know if this movie's going to do well or not, but it looked interesting. It looks like there's a lot of like sci-fi horror tropes in this, like zombies and like John Carpenter's The Thing and things like that in this, but it's with these Looney Tunes characters. And I did watch a trailer for it.
Deleted. Is this the one that where Porky is Friar Tuck and Daffy is Robin?
I think so.
Does the whole
Little
troubadour
John?
thing?
I forget who Little John was. Somebody was Little John too. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I remember that strip because I think that came out around the time of the Errol Flynn Robin Hood movie. I think
because he gets into the duel with Little John. Well, no, I take that back. Maybe he wasn't Friar Tuck. Maybe he was Little John. Porky, because they do the whole fighting with the quarterstaff on the log, right?
Yes.
And he goes, "I shall dispatch you with my trusty quarterstaff." And then he turns to the audience in an aside and goes, "It's actually $1.25 quarterstaff, but I'm not going to tell him that."
Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry, that was funny. And I'm hoping that this movie, I mean, I don't know, I have to watch it. But I'm intrigued. Like when the alien is behind the case and he goes to the one pig lady scientist there and he says, Daffy's like, "Well, it's a great thing it's behind that shatterproof glass there." And she's like, "It's not shatterproof." And then suddenly it busts out and they all scream.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it might be funny. And then like, I think someone says like, "The duck will save the earth." And like people on the streets, like the human type characters say, "The duck? Really? The duck?" And then you see someone step up that looks like an audience member and says, "The duck? This is hot garbage." And he walks out of the theater. Like it looks like a silhouetted guy in the theater walking out because he's so angry. It might be fun. I don't know. I mean, remember fun?
Everything you've said so far has me thinking of some of the classic Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yes.
So if it goes back to that form, then it might totally be worth it. And this could be maybe the biggest movie of the year. Maybe remind these studios who aren't really understanding their properties, not nurturing the products they spend money on to create in the first place. Look, I'm seeing this way too much. Yes, they're putting out a lot of crap. Okay, we're over at that Park Place and WDW Pro. They're talking about how there is zero budget to promote Snow Off-White because they know it's going to be a money loser. But damn it, if you're going to put money into something, you need to believe in it from the beginning, or don't even start the effing thing.
You know, it would be funny if all the audience members would really show up Disney and go out and see this movie and this movie kills Snow White at the box office.
I'll tell you,
that would be the ultimate like slap.
Just like you were saying when I got here, if I hear from the people that I trust that this is a good movie, you better believe I will support it. Absolutely.
Troy, this weekend has so far been the worst box office of the year. Well,
yeah.
Maybe it didn't do so hot. But again, they didn't advertise it. I didn't even know this thing was coming out because I might, when you do previews and tell people things are coming out, they might build up hype. If I'd known this movie was coming out months ago, I would have hyped it up on this channel.
This is the kind of thing where word of mouth matters, right? It didn't do well opening week because no one knew about it. Now, despite them not marketing it, it's getting the free press of word of mouth. So maybe it will do better. We'll see.
But I think I will try to catch this if time allows. But I don't know, probably not this week. But but they won't. Well, I don't know. It'd be great if that happened, though. Let me know if you end up seeing this deleted scenes. I'd be interested in your opinion on this. But Nate's right. Even movies people knew about tanked. Because Hollywood's terrible right now. People don't like Hollywood anymore.
This is the problem, and it's kind of like what I was saying about what before I had to go off
Yes.
computer, what Snarky J was saying about Captain Falcon. It's not even about whether or not the movie's good, because from everything she said there were things about it she really liked. She said it was mediocre at best, but the real problem is that nobody cares about these movies anymore. They have spent the past decade pushing people away. The pandemic did not help, but what's even worse is that we have come to hate these celebrities. We can't stand them talking down to us, insulting us, and basically telling us not to see their movies. So we're not anymore. So even if they do put out a good movie, nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
They're reaping what they've sown.
Did you have any thoughts on Bateman? Just out of curiosity.
I'm sorry, I did not see it.
Just forget you then. Okay,
I got so busy with what I was working at,
whatever.
What we were doing behind the scenes and
all right. Well, we'll have to talk about it on Friday. Maybe you can give me your thoughts then. Look at this. We have the Riddler showing up in Tim Burton Batman universe book. Might be good, huh?
Yeah, that's what's it called? It's a Batman
Revolution. Yeah, it was Resurrection was the one you have, and
which is the one I'm just starting to read. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, this is what caused me problems. I had pasted the link into the chat, and for some reason, when I did it, I couldn't then read the comments anymore, and I don't know. And I was kind of stuttering a bit, but we got through it. Then I realized why my YouTube channel opened when I was looking at the comments that are coming through on my YouTube channel.
Oh, gotcha.
Warner Brothers will replace rotten DVDs. I don't know if Michael from Retro Blasting is listening. He may know about this already.
Well, I did send him the article through Patreon, but whether or not he's read it, I don't know. He's been real busy with some projects he's working on right now. Looking forward to a big Rogue One video coming very, very soon. That's had all of his attention.
Is this for the video game or the book series? Or is this for the movie that never came to be?
Yeah, what he's looking at is he's comparing the movie we got to the movie that was filmed and not released.
Rogue One, not Rogue Squadron. Yeah. I understand.
Oh yeah, no, Rogue One.
I got it confused.
Piecing it together from footage from promos that scenes that were filmed and then not used, lines that were different, things that were out of context, and he's got a really good idea of what the movie actually would have been before all the rewrites and pickup scenes and whatnot.
It might have been better. I don't know. Yeah.
This is what he's implying, and I'm really looking forward to his video on that. But there was
a whole nother movie that existed before Kathleen Kennedy and the Brass stepped in. I don't know what that movie was, but we'll never know.
But what I can tell you is that as a Patreon member over on Retro Blasting, he was sharing with us. He did an analysis of his most popular videos of all time on his channel, and one of them happens to be the one about Warner Brothers DVD rot.
Yeah. He was one of the people that broke this.
Yes, he was.
But here's the article. There is no better way to protect the art you love and ensure it is always available for the enjoyment than physical media. We know that some people enjoy keeping tabs on the licensing agreements, expiration dates, and streaming availability of every title they could want to watch. But for our money, a good Blu-ray is much more convenient. That is, unless the disc was a Warner Brothers release produced between 2006 and 2008. A rash of disc rot plaguing discs produced by Warner Brothers between those years has been ruining collections for years, with reports beginning as early as 2020. At long last, the studio has announced a soothing ointment in a statement to Joe Blow. Warner Brothers is offering to replace rotting discs produced between 2006 and 2008. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment is aware of potential issues affecting select DVD titles manufactured between 2006 and 2008, and the company has been actively working with consumers to replace defective discs. Where possible, the defective discs have been replaced with the same title. However, as some of the affected titles are no longer in print or the rights have expired, consumers have been offered an exchange of a title of like value. Consumers with affected product contact customer support team at WHV at WBD.com. I have to really get on this myself. This is going to be a pain in the butt. This
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a project over the summer. I have
I
to
have
see
to
what I
admit,
have that's rotting. Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
to admit, I'm in the same situation where I haven't really paid attention to going through my Warner Brothers back catalog. Excuse me, and seeing which ones might or might not.
It's
I
also
was
TV
actually in a good
series, not just movies. It's
yes.
also their
I
TV
was actually
series, not just the movies. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
was actually in a good position. Speaking of Michael French, I was able to help him out with a copy of uh, a particular couple of discs from a particular season of The Adventures of Superman. You know, the old George
Hmm.
Reeve
Right.
serial. And I said, look, at the time we were not getting any word from Warner, and I'm like, well, screw it, I'll just make you a copy of these discs and send them to you, and that's exactly what I did. And I made the files available to him in case the encoding wasn't right or whatever. And it's like, look, come at me, and I'll freaking sue you for this situation. You put us in a situation where we bought the things and then they rotted because it was, uh, you know, I don't know. It was on your end and you weren't making good on it. And it took this long for them to make good on it. And so that's why a
They
part of
knew.
that is, yeah, yeah, exactly. And then there's a part of this where they say, well, and if it's not available because it's no longer licensed, we'll, replace it with something else. And it's like, that would not have been a problem if you'd have gotten on this immediately, but you did not. And it's not like you weren't made aware of this by numerous people.
Yeah. Oh, that's what this looks like. Sorry, I didn't have the article up. I have seen several Warner Brothers discs. I want to keep something in mind to you. They don't always look like they don't always look like this. Sometimes they
Right.
look
This
perfectly
is an
clean and they're still
extreme
stuttering.
case. Yeah, this is they have to make it visual for the purpose of an article. But yeah, you might not be able to tell just by looking at it.
A lot of
That
their
it's
classic movies. We have a copy of. I was looking at a copy. I work for a certain public institution that has discs, and I was looking at a copy of A Streetcar Named Desire recently, and got a note from somebody that didn't play, and I was going to see about cleaning it, but the whole back has that weird opaque look. That is disc rot. I've seen it before, and it comes in different forms. Sometimes this looks perfectly okay. I had Goodfellas on DVD. In fact, if you remember, I think I was on a street when you had Paulie on for our Goodfellas
yeah,
rewatch, and my disc froze up while I was watching with you guys. The disc froze up, and I was getting a little flustered by that during that stream because I hardly watched that disc and I didn't know what had happened. I take care of my stuff, and I think it
yeah,
was one of those faulty Warner Brothers DVDs. That's another Warner Brothers release. Also, the original Batman special. Sorry, not the Batman special editions. The Superman special editions that came out around the time of Superman Returns. Those DVDs I had, all of them died on me, and I thought it was a fluke manufacturing defect. So I got rid of them, and then I got like the pack that came up with the Donner cut and the Superman. I got like a Blu-ray set of them, which didn't have 3 and 4, but it came with Superman Returns. But because I figured I'm not gonna be able to do it, I wish I had held on to them. I might have been able to get them replaced. But I don't know what the score is for this. I'm gonna look into it myself. And obviously, people in the home theater community, the DVD community, I know they've been posting lists of affected titles, so that might be easier than you having to check every single disc in your collection. Keep in mind, though, a lot of these are like classic movie discs. A lot of them that came out in sets. I
yeah.
suspect my Dirty Harry set, the fancy set I got, is in particular has some
You are
particular
actually in a
problems.
good
Yeah,
position, Boomer, to get on your collection that you do have, look at
yeah.
them,
I'm gonna
evaluate
do it.
them, and take advantage of this
I'm gonna
because
do it. Yeah.
and again, if you run into a situation where
And I can find
it's
receipts, Warner Brothers, if you need those. I can find them.
right, but if you can't get it replaced because of license, out of print, whatever, talk to me. We'll see if we can't find some other
Do an
option.
exchange.
Just saying. But yeah, and I will try to be disciplined this week about taking and putting out the clips of this Geeky Geezers. And when I do, this segment will be, I will include links to resources for you, including that retro blasting video that I mentioned earlier, the video that he resources in that video, because that YouTuber has a complete catalog of every Warner Brothers DVD affected, so that you can look at your own DVDs and get this situation taken care of. Let's hold them to their word,
It's your
because
property.
it is exactly right.
I think the original Batman animated series DVDs got affected by this. It was funny. Yeah, Tom from Midnight's Edge has commented on the disc before this, and not just the Warner Brothers issue. Yeah, it's funny. I remember Midnight's Edge did a commentary on the Batman animated series on Blu-ray, saying how they thought some of the sound on some of the later discs in the set wasn't quite right. So you have to go back to your DVDs, but we can't go back to the DVDs because the DVDs are rotting, and it's like you can't win with Warner Brothers.
Exactly.
Warner Brothers, in my opinion, they have been big pushers of physical media over the years.
Yeah.
They were the big proponents of DVD. They should be the ones who are leaders. And
I know.
most of the Warner Brothers.
It's a very mixed message, right? Because they unlike some other companies, really have been supporters of physical media. But then to pull something like this, it's like, well, do you or not? I'm not so sure now,
Yeah. Yikes, the Dirty Harry said, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I'll have to check. Well, I know with Warner Brothers, they're just trying to figure out how to stay afloat, period, right now. But
right.
Again, this used to be a big revenue stream for you, selling the movie on physical media. Maybe you need to start thinking about
and that might be why they're addressing it now. They're realizing this may be a little late to the game and going, yeah, if we lose our, this, we're going to lose the revenue stream because we're sure not getting it from streaming. The movies aren't doing so well. Maybe we can sell DVDs of our old stuff if we have the trust of the of our customers. Yeah.
But speaking of late to the game.
Oh, wow. That's a great little segue there.
Yeah, especially since this is a Guitar Hero related story. Don't get excited. It's not a re-release of the series. I don't know if anybody cares at this point. But I used to like those a lot. But let's go down to this got in the news, and you know what? I'm sorry. This is Geeky Geezers. This is a geek news channel. This is geek news when I think of it. Guitar Hero expert finally annihilates world record 200% speed run of the game's hardest song after trying and failing 50,000 times. There are men, right? There are kings, and then there are guitar heroes, a special class of supernatural beings that Twitch streamer Carney Jared certainly belongs to. After 9 months of toil, Jared recently was able to complete the world's first full combo of Through the Fire and Flames, what's considered to be the rhythm game series' most difficult song at 200% speed on a PC clone hero. In recent interview with esports personality Jake Lucky, Jared said the achievement has always been seen as the most highly coveted world record, so he's always dreamed about nabbing it, especially at 200, he continues, though that was the speed that I really wanted because I see it as the ultimate world record for Through the Fire. He originally obtained the world record at 180% speed in 2024, but that wasn't good enough. He spent the 9 months since his last Through the Fire and Flames achievement working his way toward 200%. Anyone observing Jared's winning attempt could see why the feat took as long as gestating a human baby. As the notoriously demanding Flames begins to pick up like a gust of wind, notes begin to flood Guitar Hero's virtual fireboard, and Jared's eyes narrow. A full combo requires a player to hit every single note that shoots their way, so Jared begins to slap his fingers, sometimes using both hands against his plastic guitar's neck in a way that I never knew was anatomically possible. Moving methodically, Jared finishes Through the Fire and Flames with the solemnity of a monk before realizing that he's done and erupting into a giant yes, yes, yes. Jared tells Jake Lucky during the interview that just learning how to play Through the Fire and Flames at the intense 200% speed was a challenge, even though he'd ostensibly already mastered the song at 180%. To put to an actual number, Jared says about his 200% speedrun training period, it was 5 hours, basically 5 days a week. For 9 months, I restarted runs at a different rate every single day, but I would say it took about 50,000 attempts. Never give up. At Microsoft, Activision, whatever. If you're listening to this, you ever decide to bring Guitar Hero back, you need to make this man a playable character skin in the game. Make him a rocker.
I know, right?
Just do it. He's earned it, and congratulations. I mean, every so often we get these video game high score things, like we had the kid that beat Tetris a while back. But Jarrett needs a. Will you be nice? You're starting to sound like people. It's like, you could have learned to play a real guitar. Well, yeah, stop. Anyway, Guitar Hero always looked like fun, but I never played it. I had it for the Nintendo Wii. In fact, I got a bunch of them. It was neat. Later editions came with like free CDs. I think I got what was it? A Soundgarden CD with one of the releases, which was neat. Black Hole Sun. Is that Sun guy?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. They came with a CD of theirs with it.
Oh, so if I was to do a speed run of it, I would be doing the Weird Al polka version, is what you're saying.
I don't know. That's a good question. Was a Weird Al song ever included in any of these games?
Well,
I want to say there was. I bet Dare to Be Stupid was stuck on one of them. Yeah.
There is his parody songs. There are his original songs, and then there were these medleys he did where he just took and did straight on covers of little snippets of different songs that were popular, but he did them as a polka, which usually means at a fairly high speed. So Black Hole Sun, won't you come? Da 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 da. Black Hole Sun, won't you come? Won't you come? And it's funny when you know that this is this much slower, dour kind of song, but then he's singing it in this peppy, polka, version.
Darth Vader had the high score for Discs of Tron. Good for you.
Yeah, and see, this is what I wanted to say about that whole thing about learning to play a real guitar. Look, there's two different engagements here. There's playing a game and there's playing a guitar. If you want to play a guitar, fine, go learn how to play the song on a real guitar. This is somebody trying to master a game and be the best at it. This is no different from someone becoming the best at Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or whatever and getting the highest score in the world. You can poo-poo that as being worthless too. You could go out and eat real pucks. What? It's a game. It's just somebody learning to be the best at a particular game. Okay? Break the world record at putting up dominoes or whatever. Yeah.
Some people have done that. I did want to make a point about, I forgot what I was going to make a point about. Never mind. But look, just congratulations to this young man, and or maybe he's not young. I don't know. But I do miss Guitar Hero a bit. But I did used to have that, and the Guitar Hero guitars were also backwards compatible with Rock Band, which was the competing series, and so I would get those as well, and I had the. I remember they had a special. I got a 2 guitar pack with the game, and I think it came with a microphone too. And I think Target or Best Buy had it on sale around Black Friday one day.
Yeah.
But no, this was a fun party game, and yeah.
Darth Plato says I'd rather play Twister. Well, it depends on who you're playing Twister with, I suppose.
Yeah, but I did also make this was the point I was trying to make about Guitar Hero. People complain about the kids listening to music and whatnot. This exposed a lot of kids to rock and roll. They weren't necessarily hearing it on the radio, but when they picked up the Guitar Hero game, they'd hear all these different bands, and then they would go check out the band's albums. So this was actually a great exposure of various rock bands to a lot of the younger generation. This is how they learned and, figured out, what these bands were all about. So, yeah. All right, moving on. I remember one of the Guitar Hero games was Kiss theme too. I remember that. But okay, here we go. Christopher Nolan and Amazon have a strong mutual desire to make
I
next
I
James
I don't
Bond.
want. As soon as I hear someone has a mutual desire with Amazon, that worries me. That really worries me.
Here's the Wrap speaking to a handful of top producers about Amazon's recent acquisition of James Bond. The overall consensus, and it's a strong one, is that Amazon absolutely needs to hire Christopher Nolan for the future of Bond to be taken seriously. Here is a quote from the Waynes from the Wrap's report, coming from the franchise producer who believes the only possible path for credibility is hiring a top director like Nolan. If I think they actually have a point there. If
Yeah,
Amazon
no,
wants to
that's true.
preserve the legacy, they should do everything possible to get Christopher Nolan and wait for him as long as needed. Another source described as a quote-unquote top franchise producer believes Amazon has probably already contacted Nolan since there's a strong mutual desire to make it happen. Nolan himself has long suggested he be down to direct a Bond film. The influence of those movies in my filmography is embarrassingly apparent, Nolan told Happy, Sad, Confused podcast in July 2023. And so there's no attempt to shy away from that. I love the films. It would be an amazing privilege to do one. You wouldn't want to take on a film not fully committed to what you bring to the table creatively. So as a writer, casting everything, it's a full package. A few years ago, Nolan was talking to former Bond head Barbara Broccoli about directing a franchise installment. Nolan wanted to helm 2 Bond films and set them both in the 60s. That's a good idea. However, the main issue was the amount of creative control Nolan would need if he were to make the film. At the time, Amazon MGM was also pushing hard for Nolan to direct, but alas, talks eventually failed. Broccoli, known as a real nitpicker when it comes to micromanaging the franchise, refused to give Nolan the freedom needed to make the film, much like what happened when Danny Boyle decided to exit his own Bond movie over creative differences. I would have liked to have seen his Bond film. That was the one he was going to do, and said we got No Time to Die, which was a disaster. But anyway, I don't feel like getting to that. I'd be shocked if Amazon MGM don't reach out to Nolan. Hell, I'd be surprised if they haven't already reached out already. If they're serious about the future of the franchise, they'll also grant him final cut. What this franchise needs is credibility. With Nolan at the helm, they would be getting just that. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Nolan, I know this is the first time I've heard anything concerning the future Bond acquisition means I might give it a chance. I like the fact to be set in the 60s. Let him do a trilogy. Let him do a Bond trilogy. And then you could start over and do your own crappy thing later. I'm sorry I'm being mean, but
No,
what do you think? Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that maybe the writer of this article is acknowledging that they have mismanaged this property, which is something I think we've been saying for a while here. And maybe this is a realization that they need to as I oftentimes oversay, crap or get off the pot. Do it right or don't do it at all.
I don't know if Christopher Nolan is British. I think Darth Vader was thinking the director should be British. I don't know that matters, only because I think the state Britain's in right now. I don't know if there's anyone out there who'd be able to do it justice.
That's a great point, but that actually leads into my other point, which leads into our next article, and that's just don't screw around with the stunt casting that turns the audiences away.
All right, so let's look at half the actors are British in Hollywood, though, so I don't know if this would be different. Actor Pierce Brosnan has said it is given the next James Bond should be British. In an interview with the Sunday Telegraph, the former Bond also said that it was the right decision for the franchise's long-standing producers to hand creative control to Amazon. It takes great courage for them to let go, said Brosnan, who is Irish. I hope that Amazon handles the work and the characters with dignity and imagination and respect. The choice of Daniel Craig's successor will be a decision for Amazon MGM Studios. James Norton, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Theo James, who are all English, are among the bookmakers' favorites to fill Craig's shoes. Bond has been played by 2 non-British actors in the past, Australian George Lazenby, as well as Irishman Brosnan, but 007 has never been an American, and among the names mooted for the role is California-born Austin Butler. Other non-British names have been suggested include Irish stars Paul Mescal, Cillian Murphy, and Aidan Turner, Australian Jacob Elordi. American Clint Eastwood American Clint Eastwood once reportedly turned down the role, with the Hollywood legend previously claiming he was approached to take over Sean Connery in 1967, but said it didn't feel right for me to be doing it. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked.
Well,
Plus,
yeah,
Eastwood took
definitely
over
not for
Dirty
him.
Harry. That was his film icon character.
I kind of can't see
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood affecting a British accent. However, I will say this. We've had a lot of Brits play American roles. So I don't see that it can't be done.
We have a lot of Americans of British descent, too, in the country. There's
true, and if you have good enough actors that can, put on an accent for a role, not all actors do, and not all actors do well, but if you are a truly professional actor who is a true craftsman, then you can do an accent. And you could probably do it so well that people wouldn't even know. My understanding is that Tom Conkle, who many of the people in the chat know, independent film creator, has worked with John Cleese in the past. John Cleese, whom we just saw last night in A Fish Called Wanda. Yes. And John Cleese did not realize at first that he wasn't British. Thought that he was a natural Brit, and he goes, no, I'm American. I'm just doing the accent for the role. And Cleese says, very good.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. I think of British. I think John Cleese. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
I am going to say that he. Sometimes when Brits try to be American, they're too American. If that makes any sense.
I have heard from Brits say that if they are not very well versed at the different American accents, they tend to gravitate towards Southern American accents.
Because there's a relationship there between.
There is a connection there. They're not the same, obviously, but there is understandable corollaries. If you really understand linguistics and dialects, and if you understand what the word phoneme is, then you kind of get why people say that. People that have studied accents. And look, that's the other thing. Even British actors have to study British accents, because whatever accent they have naturally, there are a whole bunch of accents all across the British Isles that, you have to master for different roles. We have many times joked about how Hollywood has loved to use Brits as the villains, because that accent just sounds, so villainous. But keep in mind that that's a very specific British accent. If you watch a British production, you will hear them using, a received pronunciation, a Cockney accent. Cockney accent in a British production is used oftentimes the same way we oftentimes use a Southern accent here in the United States. Usually denotes maybe not as well educated, working class, and sometimes using an accent that way is a shorthand to give you a lot of a character's background without actually having to take up any dialogue with it. I did not know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
Gary Busey? I'm sure he has a British personality tucked in that head somewhere.
He is so bizarre that anything you say about him, I absolutely believe.
But anyway, I'm fine. That being said, I am fine with them also casting a British actor. Just find a good actor to play him. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not hopeful for future Bond, but if they get Nolan on board, I might give it a look, because it's Nolan. We need an auteur director in charge of this, because we need someone in charge, because we just get someone who takes orders and doesn't give them. That's going to be a problem.
It really
regardless,
is.
I at least want a vision for this. Maybe it won't be a vision I'll like, but at least it'll be a vision, unlike franchise merchandising and franchise hell, which this looks
it's
like.
It's really what I've been saying about so many things, not just this, but all areas of business, politics, everything. you need the adults in the room. It's time to stop screwing around and get down to brass tacks.
Bring Goldfinger back.
Yeah.
I've been reading the book. So far, he's the best villain, but I just got through Thunderball recently, actually. All right, let's go to Mickey 17. We got to get through this. It's getting late. Mickey 17's villain parody of one Donald Trump. Is Mickey 17's villain a parody of Donald Trump? Says the question on the article. Let's find out. Do you even know what Mickey 17 is? We'll get into it. Okay.
Okay. I was going to answer your question, but okay.
Do you know?
Yes, but not because I've seen it, only because I've seen a number of people talk about it, including the aforementioned Snarky J.
Yeah.
She liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Mark Ruffalo's Kenneth Marshall is the main villain of Mickey 17, and many viewers have been wondering if the character is inspired by Donald Trump. Based on the book Mickey 7, Mickey 17 takes place in a wacky sci-fi world populated with aliens, space colonies, and human clones known as Expendables. Despite all of these fictional elements, Mickey 17 has a lot of roots in real-world politics and social issues. The film's handling of Kenneth Marshall is one of the biggest pieces of the film's political commentary, with some believing that the Mickey 17 villain was inspired by Donald Trump. Mickey 17 follows Robert Pattinson's titular protagonist, with him being an expendable employee who is reprinted as a clone every time he dies. Mickey 17 and his predecessors died as part of the Nilfheim colony, a space expedition headed by Mark Ruffalo's Kenneth Marshall. The Nilfheim colony is found on a distant planet far from Earth, with a group consisting of individuals who have left the struggling blue planet. Despite being the head of the Nilfheim colony, Kenneth Marshall is a controversial figure in the world of Mickey 17, drawing parallels to some real-life politicians. Throughout Mickey 17, Mark Ruffalo's Kenneth Marshall has some incredibly specific bits of characterization that has led some viewers to draw comparisons to Donald Trump. Mark Ruffalo's performance seems to be inspired by Trump, with many specific mannerisms such as Marshall's hand motions and mouth movements being incredibly similar to those of Donald Trump. Despite his powerful political position, Mickey 17 and many characters in the movie treat Kenneth Marshall as a comedic character, with Trump's humor being one of the things that draws many to the real-life politician. Kenneth Marshall's backstory also draws some parallels to Trump. According to the opening exposition of Mickey 17, Kenneth Marshall was a controversial politician who left Earth to start the Niflheim colony after losing re-election. That is clearly not far off from the story of Donald Trump, who was president in 2016 before losing re-election during the 2020 election. Since Mickey 7 and Mickey 17 were both made in the early 2020s, this would have been a natural way to have a fictional character parallel Trump's life before his 2024 re-election. Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 is finally here, and here's what happens at the end of the movie, what it all means, and how it may set up a sequel. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
I honestly don't care.
Another major comparison between Kenneth Marshall and Donald Trump comes later in the film. In one scene, Mickey 18 attempts to assassinate Marshall with him bringing a gun to a political rally. Mickey 18 shoots at Marshall, although he barely misses, with the bullet scratching the side of Marshall's face. This seems to be parallel to the real-life attempted assassination of Donald Trump on July 13th, 2024. On this day, a sniper shot at Donald Trump during one of his rallies, with it barely missing him and scraping his ear. Do you have any thoughts?
Yes, I do. I do want to add also that I heard that a lot of people said that not only was this clearly a parody of Donald Trump, but it was also a parody of religious figures, evangelists, and so forth. Let's face it, we know that Hollywood hates one whole segment of the political spectrum, and they absolutely hate anybody who's religious.
Yes,
so this is,
yes.
So this is entirely doubling, tripling, quadrupling, 17 times down on that whole idea. So, and if there's any question as to whether or not that was the intent of this movie, just watch Ruffalo's portrayal. It's very clear that he was honestly thinking of and doing a parody of his least favorite president. There was no doubt about it.
According to deleted scenes, he heard the movie is nothing like the book. It probably isn't. They probably added all the anti-Trump stuff into the movie. It's probably not in the book. The book was probably
Yeah.
a science
So,
fiction novel. Yeah.
so that's another element entirely. If you're going to do, and we said this about so many other things, if you are going to bother doing an adaptation of something, make it an actual adaptation. If you're going to do something completely different, don't even pay for the rights to the thing. Call it something entirely different, and do your own damn story. Because you're gonna piss off the fans of the book. That presumably are the ones you want to bring in by using the name of that book.
Well, anyway, if you want, we have more Mickey 17 news. If you want to post the next article,
which, yes, this leads right into this. If I hopefully I will get around to doing this as a clip, and these will probably go directly together because I feel like this is a little bit of Schadenfreude. I know some people liked it, but there's enough reason for me to not like it, and I really hope that Hollywood continues to get the message. Our message. Our message is stop with your messaging. We don't want it. We won't pay for it. You will go broke if you continue to do this.
Bong Joon-ho's sci-fi space epic Mickey 17 has finally landed at the box office, where it opened to a sluggish 19.1 million after failing to wow audiences. Nevertheless, it was more than enough to come in at number one amid a slowdown, a product that has seen year-over gains plummet over the past several weekends. So here we go. We have number one at the box office, but only at 19.1 million, which means everything else is also doing poorly. Overseas, where it opened in some markets ahead of its domestic opening, the dark comedy earned 24.5 million to date, including a hefty 11.4 million in Bong's native South Korea, for an early global tally of 53.3 million globally. So, a Korean director, top famous for his movie The Parasite. All eyes are on the performance of the Warner Brothers and Plan B movie, considering it is Bong's follow-up to the elevated horror pick Parasite, a cultural sensation, Academy Award Best Picture winner. Mickey 17's price tag is another challenge. The dark comedy cost a reported 118 million to make before marketing, so we'll need strong legs to land it in the black.
I don't think it's got those legs.
Neither reviewers nor audiences are exactly mooning over Mickey 17, which boasts a solid but not spectacular 78% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes. In terms of audience scores, is presently rests at 73% at Rotten Tomatoes. Do you think it's getting a sequel? I guess they left it open, huh?
Are we going to call it Mickey 18? Well, Mickey 18 apparently.
That's probably what they would have done.
In this one, yeah.
In the movie set in the nascent ice colony, Rotten Panson plays a repeatedly reconstructed expendable who is killed again and again. I remember Critical Drinker was saying, isn't this Arnold's movie, the Sixth Day? Remember that one that came out?
I actually don't, no.
Okay, it was okay. It was lesser Schwarzenegger, but it was all right. Combined ticket sales were 57.4 million, down a staggering 60% from the same weekend last year, when titles on the marquee include Dune Part 2. That puts year-to-date revenue just 1% ahead of the same quarter in 2024, amidst a series of low-grossing weekends, according to ComScore. 3 weeks ago, domestic box office revenue was up an impressive 20%. By last weekend, it slipped 11%. The best way to assess the overall performance of the theatrical marketplace is to take a broad view rather than allowing a few lackluster weeks to spark sweeping negative announcements of the long-term health of the entire industry, says ComScore box office analyst Paul Dirger-Bedian. All that being said, buckle up, because 25 is set to be a roller coaster ride, and with some major peaks on the horizon, things will bounce back as they always do. So we'll have bouncing peaks later this year. Okay. So
I do feel like the basic idea of this story, these expendable clones, is a compelling idea that could actually be very successful, but they probably should have done it as a completely standalone kind of thing. They definitely need to stop with this BS. Look, we've already talked about, even when they play it safe and make a movie that's otherwise pretty good, people aren't going to the movies anymore because Hollywood lost the audience. I mean, they're done. And I find it interesting because Darth Plato says a preaching to the choir movie. Think about that for a second. When you use the phrase preaching to the choir, right? We use that as a religious, to bring up the religious context of a church where the preacher is preaching to the believers, people who already agree with what he says, and just amen, 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 right? So there is no benefit to that, right? If you're just all a bunch of ditto heads just agreeing, nobody is edified, right? A preacher's job is to preach to the choir, but not things necessarily that they're going to quickly say amen to. It's to challenge them, maybe call them out on some sin that they've been seeing in the congregation, and have people not right away say amen, start to get a little sweating and tugging at their collars, and maybe get a little convicted, and then by the end of the sermon, maybe start to go hesitantly, amen, amen. Just like when your doctor says you need to back off the carbs and lose a few pounds, right? You're not going to go, oh, absolutely, doctor. You're going to go, yeah, I know. You also, and this is where the analogy is so apt, you have to know your audience, right? The preacher needs to know who's here. Is it all faces that I see every week that need some ministration, or do we have some guests who have never been here before? Maybe I should consider what I'm saying, maybe to convict them and bring them into the fold so that they come back next week and see if we can't help them out. Know your audience. That does not seem to be the case. Yes, the purpose of the sermon is to teach. That's exactly right. And sometimes it's a bitter pill. Sometimes it requires a mild or sometimes very strong rebuke. There comes a point where, you have the whole come to Jesus moment, right? Where you rebuke, maybe you've got some immorality going on in the church and you are going to call down the fire and brimstone. This is after maybe months and months of trying to help people behind the scenes and work through some things privately. Well, now it's time to have a come to Jesus. But again, that minister better know his audience, because if he's looking out and seeing a bunch of guests, maybe that's not the time for that public come to Jesus.
Because you don't want to yell at the guests who you don't know what they're dealing with. Yeah,
because they're going to immediately look around and go, well, what kind of a church is this? That has to be talking about this kind of stuff, So knowing your audience. And damn it, Hollywood does not know their audience.
Here's what I don't
know that their LA ivory tower, echo chamber people.
Why does this movie cost $118 million versus something that might have cost, I don't know, $20 million, like a small indie? If you want to do your message movie,
17 times.
What? Oh, because they had to pay him 17 times. Yes. No, but seriously, you could have made your message movie for a lot less money. That's what they used to do back in the day when they would do something about the death penalty. But
that's how socialists think.
Now they're using $118 million. This could have funded a blockbuster. I would imagine it could have. Maybe your next Batman movie with Pattinson that you seem to not being able to get off the ground.
And this honestly is not going to help it. Let's face it. Anyone connected with these flops is looking at their careers being diminished more and more and more.
But this guy was an Academy Award winner.
Was.
Okay.
Number one, we know that these Academy Awards don't mean anything anymore. He ain't going to win anymore because he's a white guy. He doesn't qualify.
No, Korean guy. Korean director.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Pattinson.
Oh, Pattinson. Oh, well, no, I don't know what
his career is faltering, right?
Twilight Part 2, maybe. I'm kidding.
I don't know. And then with Batman floundering, this does not give them the impetus to push forward with it.
Yeah.
So
I don't
I
get
don't
it.
know.
I don't get it. Let's move on though. But my point is though, if Zaslav was angry about Joker, he must be furious about this. It's another
Well,
huge movie that did tepid box office, huge
yeah,
budget.
doesn't help. But speaking of casting, what could be some potentially really, really brilliant casting? Sadie Sink from Stranger Things.
Yes.
We've been talking for a long time about how Hollywood seems to hate gingers, and we're finally seeing a ginger cast in Spider-Man 4. Admittedly, we don't know what role she's being cast in.
Mary Jane Watson. No, I don't know.
So that
Don't
is
think that we're
one
going to bring Mary Jane into the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe.
so that is one theory. Well, you know what? Before I start getting into fan theories, maybe you should tell
Read
us
the
what the
article.
article's telling us. Yeah.
Sadie Sink is joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Stranger Things star has been cast in Spider-Man 4, in which she'll share the screen with Tom Holland as the teenage web-slinging Avenger. It's unclear who Sink will portray in the comic book adventure, though Deadline, which first reported the casting news, hinted that her role will be significant. The outlet has posited that Sink could play X-Men mutant Jean Grey, a character who has been brought to the screen in the past by Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner. Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures, which releases the Spider-Man-centric films in Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe, couldn't be reached for comment. Plot details on the fourth Spider-Man installment haven't been revealed. In the third entry, 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker accidentally breaks open the multiverse and allows two prior Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, to appear in the same reality. Yes, I know. We knew about that. The thing that excited me in that movie actually was when he gets into a fight with Doctor Strange, and I thought, wow, is Doctor Strange going to be the antagonist in this movie?
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange didn't like something Parker pulls off in this.
And interestingly,
Yeah.
the storyline they were going for was an adaptation of probably one of the most horrible Spider-Man comic
Yes.
stories in all time, and that was One More Day. And they had Doctor Strange filling in for Mephisto.
Right.
So yes, you really could have expected him to be the villain.
He wasn't acting villainous, though. I think from
No,
his
he was not.
perspective, he was trying to do the right thing. In fact, he
Yeah.
starts out trying to help Peter.
In fact,
in
I
that
would
movie.
argue that particular storyline is the right way to do an adaptation. Take something that absolutely sucked, that everybody hated, and take some core elements of it and make it work. You know?
Right.
So, yeah, there's been a lot of...
Shang-Chi.
Oh, go
Wait,
ahead.
I did want to say, though, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings filmmaker Destin Daniel Cretton is directing the fourth quel. I love that word, fourth quel. It just rolls off the tongue. He's taking over for John Watts, who helmed the first three films of the franchise. Spider-Man 4 swings in the theaters on July 31st, 2026. So what do you think? Do you think she's going to be playing Jean Grey of the X-Men fame?
So Jean Grey is an absolute possibility. If she's playing a Spider-Man related character, that gets a little bit odder with the idea of the whole multiverse thing, right? So if she was to be playing, there's two problems. One, if they cast her as Mary Jane, she seems a little bit young next to Tobey Maguire to be playing Mary Jane.
Yeah, she's 22 at the moment.
There is a fan theory that rather than playing a new incarnation of Mary Jane, that what she is actually playing is the daughter of Peter and Mary Jane from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and therefore is Mayday.
Possibly.
So basically Spider-Girl.
Do you know who I think she's going to be playing? Black Cat. What do you think?
I don't think they would cast a ginger for Black Cat, though.
Well, they would have to dye her hair probably to white, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but
possibly.
Again, I cringe at the age difference.
Well, no, it's what is it? It's how old is Tom Holland at this point? How old is Tom?
I don't know, 40.
I don't think he's that old. They cast him young. Tom Holland.
Let me see. He is.
He looks
he's
young.
28.
I don't know how old.
He's 28. Yeah.
Not a terrible age difference, 6 years.
Yeah, and he's playing a younger character, so I suppose
It could work.
It could.
I just know that they had a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie planned at Sony, and I'm sure that got set on fire after the disastrous Madam Web and Craven movies didn't do well. I think they want to do something with that character.
All of those,
why not throw her back into a Spider-Man movie?
All of those were so ill-conceived because they were making
Yes.
Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. And we thought that it was because they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man. Come to find out, apparently they did. They could have been making Spider-Man movies all along and didn't. So yeah. I don't know what to tell you. And there is a way that they could have done a lot of these Spider-Man adjacent characters and not even needed Tom Holland. They could have just used Spider-Man in little cameos, and he could have just been CG. They didn't even need to have him physically there, Just little tiny. Maybe have Tom come in and do like a quick voiceover of 2 or 3 lines and be done with it. You could have gotten away.
She has a great look, though. She has movie star.
She would make a great. Yes. She would make a great Jean Grey, and if they're planning to reboot the X-Men,
yeah.
They could do worse, but what scares the hell out of me is the idea that there might be a third version of the Dark Phoenix saga in our future.
Yeah, this is why I'm thinking they're going to go with a Spider-Man character. I think it's too obvious to make her Mary Jane. They're not going to go with Gwen Stacy again. I'm thinking it might be Black Cat. That's my thoughts on this. Or Silver Sable, Spider-Man character, Spider-Man universe character.
I you know what? I'm going to say you might be right only because of what they did to us with the casting of Reed Richards. They teased one actor to play him, and then took him away and gave us Joe, what's his name, who's in everything, Mando, and I think they're doing the same thing here. They're teasing this casting to make fans think it might be Mary Jane Watson, only to pull it away and go, nope, we footed you again. It's actually, whatever, some
Black
other
Cat.
non-redheaded character,
Unless she's Kitty Pryde, because I think Peter Parker and her did have a brief relationship in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think he had broken up with MJ at that point, and he was hanging out with the X-Men, and then they kind of had a thing going. But she could also be Black Cat, because I think the MJ in that universe who's not Mary Jane, it's a different MJ, the one played by Zendaya. She basically, the way it ended, it had kind of like that One More Day thing at the end of No Way Home, where she doesn't know who he is anymore, and he's just going to leave it that way because I think it caused too much trouble. I don't know if they're going to bring her back or she's now done from that series. So I maybe they'll tease a new love interest.
Sony probably can't afford her at this point.
Probably not, though she is dating Tom Holland from what I heard. But I think Shady will be She-Hulk. Yes, I think so too. Let's just do more with Hulks, because everybody loved that Red Hulk movie that came out so recently. We should just keep more. Something I'm excited about.
Yeah, I know. I should really get around to seeing Spinal Tap.
You need to watch This Is Spinal Tap. I don't even want to talk about it, because you need to go into it unencumbered. I watched this in a history of film class in college, and I'm sitting there, and we're watching the Laserdisc. I think it was the Criterion Laserdisc. The film professor had it on. And at some point in the movie, I just start having gut-busting laughter. I can't hold it in anymore. That's how funny this movie is. I think Richard Roper once called it the funniest movie of all time. Yeah. It tears into rock bands like there's nobody business. But let me go into the sequel. Spinal Tap II, The End Continues. Do you like that title?
Yeah, The End Continues.
Spinal Tap II, The End Continues, a sequel to the 1984 music mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, will rock and roll into theaters this fall. Bleecker Street has acquired U.S. rights to the rock and roll comedy follow-up and set a theatrical release on September 12th. The indie studio founded by Andrew Carpin in 2014 also landed the rights for the original This Is Spinal Tap, which has been newly restored and re-released in theaters over the summer. After returning to theaters, This Is Spinal Tap will subsequently land on digital and streaming platforms for the first time in years. Directed by Rob Reiner, Spinal Tap II, The End Continues, says he's Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer, reprising their roles as members of one of England's loudest bands. In the sequel, the fictional heavy metal group reunites after a 15-year hiatus. For one final concert, Reiner returns as Marty DeBurgi, the documentarian who followed them on tour with music legends like Elton John, Paul McCartney, Garth Brooks, and Trisha Yearwood, all making cameos. A newly released teaser sees the band's signature Marshall guitar amplifier getting turned up to 11. It's a reference to the first film in which Spinal Tap guitarist Nigel Tufnell Guest explains to Marty that the volume on his amp goes up to 11 instead of the standard 0 to 10. And then Marty DeBurg is like, well, why don't you just do this and that'll make it louder? You don't have to have the 11. And he says, this goes to 11.
But this goes to 11. It's higher. Yeah, Nate says, I need to see this. Unburdened by what has been. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't. I don't even want to talk to you about it because I think you just need to watch it. Go into it.
Here's my problem with this, though. You mentioned two names that make me very, very reticent to see this film. Okay. One is Meathead, and the other is Garth Brooks. I don't know that I'm going to want to see this movie, given who's involved with it.
Well, Rob Reiner, he did direct the first one, so they got him back for this one. He played the documentarian in the first movie.
Right.
Like they would have scenes with him talking. He's like an American documentary. These three gentlemen have what I like to call transatlantic accents. Is that what they call it when you go around the world too much?
Yeah.
Your accent gets all mixed up. But they're originally from Great Britain, and it's funny when they do flashbacks to their earlier parts. They're like a 60s Beatles style band, like with the suits and everything, right? No more of that dark bit. I am tired of these overpower physical power villains.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Okay,
Jesse, I think you might be on a bit of a delay. Make sure that you're hearing us live. But this is Spinal Tap II, a sequel to a 35-year-old film.
Oh, he was talking about Jean Grey. I'm sorry. No, this is a classic comedy. I don't know if the sequel will be any good, but with the three of them back in the parts, I'm hopeful that this will just be a fun comedic documentary. What is it? I remember on one time the I Love the 80s episode they had was it Dean, the lead singer of Twisted Sister? Was it Dean Snyder? Is that his name? He was saying, I saw This Is Spinal Tap, and that movie was not a comedy because all that stuff in that movie has happened on tours. All the ridiculousness.
That's kind of from what I've gathered, it kind of is. You talk to different rockers from that era, and they've got stories that are very similar to some of the things I've heard about This Is Spinal Tap. And it's like, yeah, I can get that. I mean, they say truth is crazier than fiction, so
George Wendt used to host a talk show, I guess on VH1 or something, and Spinal Tap actually came on the show as themselves, like during the 90s or early 2000s. Nice. And they were saying they were going over the greatest moments of rock history, and I think Nigel Tufnell kept saying King Tut's tomb. Well, I understand. No, do you understand? They're going in there and they're uncovering them, and he says, yes, but that was no King Tut. See, and he just would keep talking over and explain that's not really a moment in rock and roll history.
Rock and roll history, yeah.
Saying that. And I think the other guy, the guy with the mustache, he was saying oh no, it's the invention of this weird flubber instrument or I don't know. It was funny when they were.
It's interesting because it really sounds to me a lot like. I think there's probably a lot of spiritual connective tissue with A Return of Bruce Willis.
I need to watch that. Yeah,
we did a watch party of that on my channel not too very long ago. With who was watching that with us? Was that Culture Casino? Might have been Culture Casino, might have been Time Connors. I can't remember which. But it's this whole idea of this fictional person interacting with real historical, people, and just doing this improv, like, imagining them being really part of these historic events and whatnot, like Bruno at Woodstock, and having Grace Slick talking about having to follow Bruno at Woodstock.
Yeah, but that's funny. I need to check that out.
Yeah,
But have you seen the movie Mighty Wind?
I have not.
Okay,
I
well
was
there's
less likely to watch that than Spinal Tap, because whereas I like rock music, I hate folk music.
But my dad, who would collect some of these folk albums, said that movie nailed everything. Like the new Main Street Singers, and he says that's the new Christy Minstrels, which he had one of their albums. And then there was a
I've heard of
Sonny
them.
and Cher, Eugene Levy, and Catherine O'Hara. They were like the Sonny and Cher.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, they do that in there. And then these three are recast as folk singers, and they're called the Folksmen. And and one of the guys was trying to do some Spanish, like some Spanish tune in the song that no one was catching on to. Like it was Never Did No Wandering After All. That was the name of the song. A Mighty Wind is awesome. Yeah, it's almost like I want to say like a spiritual sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, because it's about folk music rather than rock music. But I do want to see this sequel, and hopefully they leave the nonsense out of it and just make a great comedy like they used to make. That's Peter Jackson on the left. Funny man. All right, let's move on to. Is there anything left?
Yeah.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey. Okay.
How
many more stories do we have?
2 more.
This is the never-ending stream. On the first day of shooting, I wasn't even going to do a good old days tonight, but I said, you know what? We never did cover. I think Troy wanted to talk more about the Batcave, so you can always splice it into your toy talk from
right.
On the first Friday day shooting, the rivals of Amzia King, Matthew McConaughey, his right eye swollen from a bee sting, walks onto the set, raised his hand, and asked, "Is anybody else nervous except for me?" The cast and crew let out a collective laugh. All right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one," the actor said, sounding like a mixture of preacher and a surfer with his signature drawl. But McConaughey wasn't joking. He admits he felt creaky returning to the screen after a 6-year hiatus, during which he wrote a memoir, Green Lights, recorded a few voice roles in films like Sing 2. It's so weird. He plays the voice of the koala. Have you seen Sing, the movie Sing?
No, I don't
it's
think
an animated movie about animals singing, okay? But he plays the koala.
Oh, wait a minute. What does he play?
The koala in it, like the manager.
I did see that movie. I did not know that was him. Okay.
I didn't know it was Matthew McConaughey either. I thought it was Martin Short. He sounded like Martin Short in that movie. That's who I thought it was. Oh, that's got to be Martin Short. And they look at the credits like Matthew McConaughey was the koala. Okay.
Interesting.
But anyway, spent time with his family and kept a lower profile. I needed to write my own story, direct my own story on the page. McConaughey said of his time away from being in front of the camera. Well, you probably didn't miss much, Matthew, because it's been a junk few years. But when he came across Andrew Patterson's script, which focused on the charismatic owner of a honey operation in Oklahoma and his relationship with his foster child, he was drawn to its originality and strong sense of place. The part fit like a worn-in pair of jeans. It's not where I grew up, but I know of these kinds of people and these places and these kind of characters that live in the middle of the country, McConaughey says. This group of people in southeast Oklahoma, where the film takes place, know the Constitution. They know the rules they are living by, and they're not looking for or getting approval from the rest of the world. I understand them. Patterson has labored on this project for years, enlarging it at one point into a 7-episode miniseries before shrinking it back down again. He always felt that McConaughey possessed the freewheeling charm that he needed for Amzia, who has a roving band of beekeepers and musicians who follow him like a caravan of apostles. I wanted an actor with the type of personality where he could just hang out with them for hours, he says. It had to be somebody so disarming who would just do their thing inside this world I was trying to evoke, and who could be comedic in a dramatic movie. There aren't many actors. Hold on. There aren't many people like that. Even on the phone, McConaughey, with his tendency to monologue, exhibits the kind of magnetism he likes to digress, looping away from a question before somehow gliding back toward an answer with an easygoing assurance that leaves you more interested in the journey than the destination. And McConaughey doesn't want this to be a one-sided conversation asking me what I thought the meaning was behind the certain scene or for my take on the film's rural backdrop. Well, there you go, he says encouragingly, after I tell him, not very original, thought that what I like about movies like The Rivals of Messiah King is that they take you to places that are different from your reality. I guess for a New Yorker, you are pretty far removed from that world, he says, so you might see people in places like this and go, oh, I didn't really know that existed, right? Which absolutely is the best thing about movies. McConaughey says that making The Rivals of Messiah King, which opens on SXSW on March 10th, helped him rediscover his love for his profession. I remember a couple of things, he says. One, how much I truly enjoy performing. Two, I remembered, hey, McConaughey, you're pretty damn good at this. And three, I remembered that acting is a vacation for me. And what I mean by vacation is that when I'm performing, it's my singular focus. When I walk out the door in the morning, my wife says, go kick some ass. I got the kiddos. We're good. That's vacation because I'm multitasking and not compartmentalizing. I'm fully focused on finding the truth behind my main character. Well, amen to that, I say. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I don't know too much about Matthew McConaughey, which is probably for the best with celebrities these days. I've never heard anything really negative about him.
Well, I
Seems like
don't
a
think
good guy.
he runs his mouth. Okay.
No, yeah. And I think he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think he's one of the contenders for, for what would you call Hollywood star. We don't have stars anymore. He could very well be that if Hollywood sticks around. I want to thank Darth Plato so much for what's this Contact 2 coming soon? Is that true?
No, he was in
Or just
Contact with Jodie
speculation?
Foster. That was
Yeah.
the first movie I saw him in, actually. He's been in a lot of stuff, though. He was in Amistad. He was in True Detective Season 1. They asked him what his favorite season of True Detective was. He says, well, really, it's Season 1. Because that is the best season.
Yeah.
True Detective really fell off the rails. Season 2, I'm about halfway through the season. I'm wondering, what crime are they trying to solve? I'd forgotten already. It was so convoluted. And then Season 3 was pretty good, though not as good as Season 1. That had Marshall Ali in it, and Stephen Dorff were in that as the two detectives. And then Season 4, I heard Night Country I heard that was terrible. I heard that was absolutely dreadful. So I'm just, I love the idea behind True Detective. You do this, do different detectives each season solving a murder and do it in a different part of the country and have it gritty. And I thought that was a great idea for a series. And
yes, did you?
They never got back to it.
JPRPH1 brings up the Lincoln commercials. Did you see
the
that?
Lincoln commercials? He's done those. He's done a lot of stuff. It's not like he's been on vacation. He's been around. But to be fair, I haven't necessarily missed him because I haven't seen a ton of movies this decade that have really stood out to me. So this looks like a good one. I like the fact that the guy said this isn't enough for a series. Let's scale it down to a movie. I wish more showrunners would do that and realize some things are movies, some things are TV series. Don't pad out a story. I'm looking at you, Disney. So yeah, no, he's always been an interesting actor. I'll probably check this movie out. It looks like it's a good movie. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. What do you have to say?
Nothing. Seems like a great guy. Looking forward to what he's got coming up.
Yes. All right. True Detective Season 1, I do recommend it to you. It's a self-contained story, not connected to anything else. John Goodman. I kept wondering, did Walter have like a leg brace in Big Lebowski? I want to get a picture of that for this. But John Goodman injured while filming movie with Tom Cruise. I'm kind of curious, what is he?
Why is someone trying to keep up with Tom Cruise? I mean, that guy's crazy. Of course you're going to get hurt.
I mean, he's lost some weight, but
Yeah.
it's just John Goodman has been injured on a movie set in the United Kingdom at the famed Pinewood Studios. TMZ has learned. A source with direct knowledge tells TMZ the actor fell while on set, but it was not related to a stunt. We're told he hurt his hip, but he's on the mend and will be back shooting next week. The film, an untitled flick for four-time Academy Award winner Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, boasts some big star talent alongside John, including Tom Cruise, Jesse Plemons, Michael Stuhlbarg, Sandra Huller, and Riz Ahmed. A representative for Warner Brothers Pictures confirmed the nature of John's injury to us in their own statement. While the movie doesn't yet have a title yet, IMDb has a plot synopsis, and the film will follow the most powerful man in the world causes a disaster and embarks on a mission to prove that he's the savior of humanity. Yikes. I don't know what that's about. That sounds kind of dark. Cruise has already been spotted on set walking over to a helicopter. Unclear what his next big stunt for this movie is going to be, though we do know he's hanging out out of a biplane for the next Mission Impossible film. While John didn't suffer a major injury, it's still a scary situation for the 72-year-old star who had to skip the 50th anniversary SNL anniversary show because he was shooting this flick. It's just that was probably a blessing in disguise. It's just the latest in a string of bad luck for John, who lost his home in the Pacific Palisades wildfire back in January, along with several other big stars like Eugene Levy, Billy Crystal, and Mandy Moore. Hopefully the actor will recover, just like the doctors say, and be back on set soon. Well, I'm always been a big John Goodman fan, so I wish him the best. Okay.
Yeah.
And closing out my Word document, which is taking forever, and then that. Oh, any thoughts on this? Sorry.
No.
We just wish him the best of health on the mend. We need stars. I want to see a John Goodman Matthew McConaughey team up movie. How's that sound?
That could be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have another 10 years maybe of Tom Cruise doing action movies. He's like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
I got very angry when Liam Neeson said he's done, and I'm like, who's going to take his place in this type of movie? I thought Hugh Jackman can now take over with Liam Neeson.
Probably true, yeah.
John Goodman and I share the same birthday. Oh, that's interesting, deleted scenes. I'm a huge fan of Big Lebowski. That was another movie I saw in the theaters and that I had gut busting.
That was one of the films that was up for Members Night at the Movies for tomorrow night, but it lost out. It actually came in third place.
Well, you'll get to it at some point.
But instead, the folks wanted to see the 300 again. So we'll be watching the 300 tomorrow night at 9. Members only stream. So if you're not a member and you want to invest, I think it's like, what, $2-3 a month?
It's $1.99 for your lowest tier.
$1.99. You know, in an average month, 4 movies for free streaming on my channel. You know, think about it.
For $2.
But the members get to choose what movie we'll be watching, and this week it's going to be the 300. Mullen La Bay, my friends. So that's tomorrow night at 9 Central. No, I'm sorry, 8 Central, 9 Eastern on my channel. I'm trying to remember. You know what? If you're here, deleted, let me know if you have something going on Monday. If you're doing your what are they called? Secret cinema, whatever that thing is. Otherwise, you are my VIP. If you want to join us on the panel tomorrow night, you absolutely can. I've already sent you that link. So check the what do you call it, the community tab for the links for tomorrow night.
You mean his Mystery Movie Monday?
Yeah, Mystery Movie Monday. That's what I was trying to say. Right, that thing.
Mystery movies. And then
speaking of mysteries,
Tuesday. Oh yeah, Twin Peaks.
Yeah, Tuesday night is part 2 of the Twin Peaks fan film, Queen of Hearts. I mean, you absolutely can go and watch that right now on YouTube. but wait for us, because we would love to experience for the first time with you. So that is 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes channel. Might be late to the show, but I should be there for most of it. Okay, great. Well, you know how it is. You got the link if you want to just join us. It'll beep in my ear when you come into the stream if you want to join us on the panel. Yes, and then following right after Live from Sparkwood and 21, of course, is the next episode of Blake 7. The episode is called Hostage. That will be a lot of fun. And then next week's episode is one of my favorite Blake 7 episodes, an episode called Countdown. A very Avon-heavy episode. Gets into all of his establishing history. Very, very good stuff. You find out basically how he ended up on that ship going to the penal colony and the tragic backstory that led to it. But that's next week. This week is Hostage.
And you get live commentary.
Yep. And then Thursday, Netter, you have a guest for Thursday?
Yes, Kyle Corwith.
Kyle Corwith. He is, if I remember correctly, you said he was an actor.
And he does movie reviews.
And he does movie reviews. And we will be finding out about him and his channel on Thursday on Netter's Network at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Followed immediately after by Deleted Scenes, what's it called now? Coming Attractions on Deleted Scenes. And then Friday, we talked about what we were going to do for Friday. We said we were going to keep it light. Did we specify a topic, or are we just going to go with kind of a go with the flow?
You can let the chat bring up topics. Maybe.
I think I'm going to want to touch on. Well, I'd like to touch on a couple things that I meant to bring up last week and didn't in regards to Batman, but we can kind of let it flow out from there into general superheroes or wherever you guys want to lead us.
We can do that. The state of superheroes.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's face it, the more I drink, the more you can lead me. So that could be fun for you. So we'll see what happens. That's Friday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. And then Saturday on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, we have a special guest, a returning guest, Evelyn Hampton, who is going to be co-hosting with Big Al on a movie that I honestly can't remember the title of. It looks like it's some sort of a Ultraman, Spectre-Man, kaiju kind of thing. I've heard it's kind of in that vein. It's a movie that exists, and I've never seen it, and I will experience it for the first time along with Netter on Big Al Presents on Saturday at
all we know about it is it's a movie.
Yeah, Evelyn recommended it, so I am not going to put my neck on the line and say I'm expecting anything good, but I think it'll be fun to watch with this crowd. So hopefully you guys can make it. And that brings us into next Sunday. That's the week in review, guys.
Yep. Hopefully we'll have some we may have some Snow White news next week.
Yeah, that should be interesting. That should be interesting. That reminds me, next week Monday, I rather than doing a poll, I will be subjecting, although I think everyone will enjoy it, in honor of Snow Off-White and the most recent and worst, or what I expect to be the worst live-action adaptation of a Disney film. I would like to go back to, the meme, how it started and how it ended up. Well, if Snow Off-White is how it ended up, I want to go back to how it started with the, what year was it? I want to say 2005 or something like that. Cinderella from Disney.
Right. Right.
2015. I'm sorry, it's more recent than I thought. As I recall, it was a very well done film. I remember it being what I would consider to be the gold standard. If you're going to do a live action remake, that Cinderella was a good one. So I think we'll watch that one and remember. Just think about what could have been. I think another one, although I don't have it on my DVD shelf, is Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book.
Not bad. I saw it.
But beyond that,
you have Christopher Walken as King Louis. So what else do you need?
Yeah, it was I was like, this isn't bad. I remember really, really liking that because I loved The Jungle Book. I loved the original one.
Yeah, so do I.
If Disney could get their heads out of their collective asses and stop being so bent out of shape about cultural this and of its time that, and just if you're gonna do it, be faithful to it. If you're gonna remake it, otherwise leave it the hell alone. Give it a 4K update and re-release it, for crying out loud. Anyway. That's all I gotta say. I'm done.
All right. So we will catch y'all next time. Have a good week and do something nice for yourself.
Absolutely. You guys take care. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.